aloha, and good evening, football fans across the state of Utah. On this pleasant Thursday night from Roy, Utah, we welcome you to the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com and our coverage of the Game of the Week presented by Heidemann and Associates. From Ernest F. Turbano Field, it's the 5A showdown of the year between RPI number 1 ranked and undefeated Roy taking on RPI number 3 ranked and 1-loss Bountiful. With my broadcast partner, Gavin Atkinson, I'm Alexander Tumulip here at Ernest F. Turbano Field. Gavin, what a matchup we have here tonight.
Oh, we're in for a treat for sure watching these two teams go at it tonight. I can't wait.
So, Gavin, let's quickly talk about this matchup because, of course, Bountiful coming off that 50-21 drubbing of Box Elder last week, and then Roy defeating Viewmont last week as well on the road, a previously undefeated Viewmont team on the road. What stands out to you about this star-studded matchup here tonight on the field?
Well, I'm going to start with the quarterbacks. I know a lot of people hate that because, quarterbacks get all of the stardom. But both quarterbacks for these teams have been incredible all year long. I'm going to start with Roy with Drew Gardner. 16 touchdowns to 13 interceptions, just under 70% on his completion rating. This guy is efficient. He does not turn the ball over. He does everything to get you to 8-0. And then you look, he hasn't been, throwing checkdowns. He's got 1,500 yards on the season so far. And then you go over to the Bountiful side, and Emerson Gelman has very similar numbers. He's 13 touchdowns to the 2 interceptions with about a 60% completion rating and 1,600 yards. So he's got 100 yards on Roy's quarterback, but dead even on this quarterback matchup tonight.
So let's transition from that quarterback matchup. We also have to touch on the stars on the offensive end. We're going to see a great matchup here tonight between Bountiful running back Siaki Fekitoa, and on the other side, we're going to see one of the best and probably one of the most underrated players in the state right now for Roy in Robert Young.
Yeah, and we'll start with Siaki Fekitoa, 9 touchdowns on 129 carries. To put that into perspective, Logan Sella for Roy, their workhorse back, has 99 carries on the year. So Bountiful loves to hand it to Fekitoa, and he does a great job with it.
Ladies and gentlemen,
great workhorse back,
Principal Brenda Hart
and he complements his quarterback so well. And then going on to Roy's side, Robert Young, 26 receptions, 7 touchdowns. 26 receptions doesn't sound like a lot, but what you have to understand with Roy is they get the ball out to everybody. All of those receptions throughout the year have been divvied out to a bunch of different guys. But what does stand out is the 7 touchdowns on the 26 receptions. When he gets the ball, it's in big moments, and it's for about 18 yards per catch.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As the Royalettes perform their presentation of the colors, we now turn it over to public address announcer Mount Stevenson.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for our national anthem, please keep in mind those who have served and are still serving in the armed forces. Trumpet solo by Roy High Senior German Cibrian.
Yelling at Braves.
German, Cibrian. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and Royal Airs.
As the colors are retired here on this beautiful night here in Roy. Easily the biggest matchup of the season for both of these teams. And the longest running 5A matchup since 1973. First meeting on August 24th, 1973, an 8-7 Royals win. The Bountiful Redhawks looking to score their first win over the Royals since 2008. Time now for the Heidemann & Associates Keys to the Game, presented by the full-service law firm that's committed to winning for you, the client. Heidemann & Associates, a proud sponsor of tonight's Game of the Week here on KSL Sports Rewind. All right, Gavin, I turn to you. And what's the key for both of these sides in this basically dead-even matchup here tonight between these two top 5 squads?
And it's so tough to come up with these, winning moments beforehand when these teams are so even. But to start with Roy, you have to find a way on defense to slow down Siaki Fekitoa. He's such a great halfback, and if you let Bountiful get both their run game and their pass game going, you're in for a shootout. We've seen Roy can match that shootout, but to ensure your victory tonight, you got to find a way to slow down that run game. Now, switching over to Bountiful, cause turnovers, strip that football, get a pick, and make the most of your opportunities, because Roy will burn you if you don't. They'll find a way to get it in the end zone, kick a field goal. They make the most of their opportunities, as they've been scoring points around the 50s this entire season. It'll be a big ask, but Bountiful's got to find a way to slow down this Roy offense.
The teams are about to take the field, and the siren call of the Imperial March brings out the dark-shirted Royal captains first, and soon to be followed by the rest of the Royals. We are ready for football, and we hope you all are as well. When we come back, we'll have the coin toss and the kickoff to this star-studded top 5 matchup. Bountiful and Roy next on the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com. Stay with us.
They will receive.
Welcome back, everybody. The Rewind Sports Network and our coverage of the Game of the Week presented by Heidemann & Associates.
Will kick off,
the Roy Royals will kick off tonight.
Officials for today's game: back judge Justin Norton, linesman
and Bountiful will take the kickoff first. Alexander Timothy alongside
Kyle Williams,
my broadcast partner Gavin Atkinson,
and the man in the white hat, referee Scott Taylor.
Scott Taylor is our official here tonight at Ernest F. Durbano Field. The sparklers flying in the background, the flag waving. And to the tune of Sandstorm. The Redhawks came out first. And led by their captains. They gather around the standard. Gavin, you can just feel this game feels a lot different than any other game on a Thursday night. This feels like a playoff game here tonight.
And what I imagine the coaches have to be telling their kids is, hey, it's just any other game. Find a way to win it, right? You can get caught up in the emotions, and they can distract you from what matters. But on the other hand, Roy's here at home, community shows up, and you can feed off of that energy. That can drive you just that extra bit once you get tired. Really excited. You feel the energy, and I feed off that energy too. I can't wait.
Gavin Atkinson and Alex Tumanev.
Roy will kick off towards the south goal here at Ernest F. Durbano Field, which has seen the likes of Jim McMahon and others pass through these doors. Colby Froker to kick off. To return the kickoff is Brock McSwain and Bo Birmingham.
Deep to receive.
On this Thursday night, we are glad you could join us from across the state and around the world. And here we go as Froker kicks this one off, and it will go into the end zone for a touchback. And Emerson Dialman will bring it out to the 20-yard line first. And Gavin, you said it right off the top. We're about to see right off the bat this Roy defense go to work. These are two of the best defenses in 5A. Number 7 last year under Jake Gallegos, the Royals. Number 5 under Jason Walker for the Bountiful Redhawks last year.
And you're going to want to keep your eye on number 0, Logan Sella. 69 tackles on the year, and that's also their halfback. So he's playing two ways throughout this game.
They start with Geilman and Fekitoa in the shotgun, double wide receivers to the right. On 1st and 10, and the handoff is fake to Fekitoa. The throw in the flat is complete, and getting out to the 30 and out of bounds to the 33-yard line is Britton Tidwell, the slot back.
Emerson Geilman.
And this is a great taste of what Roy is going to have to face all day. That play action that Siaki Fekitoa gives this Bountiful offense, the defense bites on that run, and you find a receiver wide open on that out route.
1st and 10 now from the 33-yard line. Siaki Fekitoa in the shotgun with Geilman. He'll hand it off to Fekitoa going up the middle. And Fekitoa goes absolutely nowhere as he gets run over by a host of white shirts led by the D tackle, the senior Isaac Ariza.
2-yard gain on the play. Ball on the 35.
He maybe got a yard. They'll give him an extra half a yard up to the 34 3/4 officially. Alexander Timolip alongside Gavin Atkinson and Josh Dodge on the camera here from Ernest F. Durbano Field in Roy, Utah. Kickoff temperature was 81 degrees. It's overcast here at Durbano Field. As Geilman to throw, sets up the screen. That's complete to Fekitoa. And Fekitoa gets run over as he gets out to the right side. Logan Sella blew it up on the outside, led by the edge, Bone Ke'aho.
And you got to credit the discipline of Roy's defense right there, not biting on that screen, trying to get downfield and sack the quarterback. They see what's going on, they read the play, and slow down that screen. Brings up 3rd and long. We'll see if they can get off the field.
Lost the 2 yards that they had officially gained back, so now it's 3rd and 10. And already the noise being turned up here at Durbano Field. Birmingham goes in motion, now comes back to the right. Geilman from the shotgun, 4-man rush, looking to the right, throws the fade route for Tidwell, and it's overthrown and incomplete. Well covered on the play there by Kahikili Eleneke.
And Emerson Geilman knew what defense Roy was bringing right there. You saw him send the man in motion. Roy was showing man, they ended up running man. He tried to throw that back shoulder throw, just a little too far, and we'll see the punt team come out.
So after the first down, 3 and out for the Bountiful Redhawks. Britton Tidwell to punt the football away, and Rhett Slater back to receive the punt for the Royals. Tidwell, rugby-style punt, almost got it blocked and shanked it off the side of his foot. And it's out of bounds. We're going to see where they mark this. And they're going to mark it at the 35-yard line. So officially a 2-yard punt off the foot of Britton Tidwell.
Boy, and watching him punt that football, you just sit there and you're like, okay, is he going to get rid of it now? Is he going to get rid of it now? As Roy just blasts through those blockers, almost gets that one blocked. And, I mean, for all intents and purposes, they did.
So the Royals now have excellent field position for the senior quarterback, Drew Gardner. Hard to believe we watched this kid play as a sophomore. 2 years ago under Chris Solomona, he has blossomed so much. He starts with Logan Sella, the tailback, and Robert Young, the most dangerous player in 5A, comes in motion. He gets the pitch, and he's going to throw. Thought about throwing and throws it deep. Has a man! Touchdown, Royals! St. Morris, a gadget play, and the Royals are off and running.
And you just have to applaud the play design by offensive coordinator Connor McGuire. You get the ball to your number one weapon in Robert Young, who can run the football. He's got 14 rushing touchdowns on the year. So you get the defense to bite. You throw it over the top to your second best weapon in Zay Morris. Great play design.
So Roy takes immediate advantage of the 2-yard punt by Bountiful. The kick is up by Colby Froker, and it is good. And just like that, it is 7-0 Royals, the number one team in 5A, off and running here tonight at Turbano Field. Roy, Utah, what a start here tonight. The Royals out in front thanks to a 35-yard touchdown pass from Robert Young, his first of the season, to Zay Morris. On what Gavin Atkinson, my broadcast partner, joining me, Alexander Timlin, called an excellent call by offensive coordinator Connor McGuire. But as we say that, Colby Froker shanks this kick out of bounds. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Bountiful Redhawks at the 35-yard line. And Gavin, now you wonder about what the response is going to be from the Redhawks and offensive coordinator / head coach Jason Freckleton here.
Well, you got to stay calm. You can't try and get it back in one play. You can't try and match what Roy just did. You know, just let the offense come to you. Take what Roy's defense will give you and get the ball to your weapons.
Siaki Fekitoa remains the single setback to the right of Emerson Gallman. Britton Tidwell comes in motion to the left on 1st and 10 from the 35. Geilman hands off to Fekitoa, stretches it to the outside, cuts it back over left tackle, and he gets maybe a couple on the play. Brought down on the play. First contact by Jackson Schofield, among others. Ainge Ahui also in on the play.
And Roy's defense right there did a great job of not letting Bountiful set the edge. Fekitoa had to, he tried to get that one back into the middle of the field, but there was nothing there.
So 3 touches for Fekitoa, and he has a grand total of 2 yards. Geilman from the shotgun, hands off to Fekitoa again, this time to the right side, breaks a tackle. He gets waffled as he gets across the 40-yard line to the 44. And he'll pick up about maybe 9 yards. It'll be 3rd and less than a yard to go for the Redhawks.
And that is, one of the toughest things to stop about Fekitoa. Roy's defense had like 8 guys stacked in the box, and he still found a way to get those yards, bringing up a 3rd and short.
Zeke Murdoch now takes the place of Fekitoa on this 3rd and 1. And he gets the handoff, and he's going to get it. Not by much, but he got it. And across the 45-yard line, he goes to the 46, and that's the first down of this drive for the Redhawks.
And Alex, one of the storylines we're going to be watching all throughout this night is going to be the trenches. Which line can end up winning that war? Right there, we saw Bountiful win it, get that first down.
Fekitoa comes right back in. Triple wide receiver now lines up to the left. Alexander Timolip and Gavin Atkinson on this beautiful Thursday night from Ernst Turbano Field, watching as Emerson Geilman pump fakes and throws, and that pass is caught for a first down to Connor Clark. And a great RPO read right there by Geilman, and a first down for the Redhawks as they're across midfield for the first time here tonight.
Great throw by Gallman, just sits in the pocket, waits for the route to develop, and finds the open man.
1st and 10, Redhawks.
They said Logan Sella made the tackle, but it looked like it was Robert Young who came up and made the stop. 1st and 10 from the 40. Fekitoa now the single setback. Again, play action. Pass is caught. That is Clark again. And Clark with his helmet flying off picks up a first down after pick up a 13 yards. So by rule, he has to come out for a play. But so far, the theme has been give it to Fekitoa and watch the defense sink back, Gavin.
1st and 10, Bountiful.
Just past the 8-minute mark here in the first quarter. Alexander Timoth alongside Gavin Atkinson, Josh Dodge, John Camera, joining you from the top of Ernest F. Durbano Field here in Roy, Utah. Roy struck first, but now with a 5-wide set here, Emerson Geilman and the Redhawks looking to strike back. From the Roy 27-yard line, empty set, pressure coming, Geilman bails out to the right, gets away from the pressure, now he's got this side of the field wide open, and he gets shoved out of bounds into the bench at about the 21-yard line, pickup of about maybe 7. And that's a great job by Geilman reading the defense there, Gavin, because Jackson Schofield was coming like a heat-seeking missile off the right side.
And exactly that. He knew what Roy was going to try and bring. He saw the single high safety. They bring some pressure, and the defensive backs did a good job at taking away a throw, and he found a way to improvise.
Fekitoa remains the back, and he gets it to the left side. Fekitoa trying to cut it to the left side, and he goes nowhere. Schofield and Sella, among others, with the stop.
Fekitoa on the carry.
Now it's a loss of 2 yards, and it's going to be 3rd and call it 5 here for the Redhawks from the Royal 22-yard line.
On the play. Ball's in the 22.
Very interesting play call coming up right here. We'll see if they run the ball. You might start thinking 4-down territory. So we'll see what they're thinking with this play call.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Galvin. This could be 4-down territory for the Redhawks, depending on how they play it. 3rd down and 4. And they're going to hand it to Fekitoa. Breaks a tackle. Breaks another tackle. Still on his feet. Rumbling down inside the 10. And he finally gets wedged to the turf at that spot. And it's a first down for the Redhawks.
And they won't need to make that decision because Fekitoa is just so strong. He keeps those legs pumping. We saw one of Roy's defenders just try and hit him a little hard, see if he knocks down. No, Fekitoa is too strong for that. You got to wrap him up. You got to get the legs.
It's like trying to tackle a moving metal pole. We're trying to tackle a steamroller. That's a better analogy. 1st and goal from the 10. Double tight ends now with Fekitoa in the backfield. Hand goes to him, left side, and he powers his way into the crease. And he gets brought down at the 2-yard line. And now, Gavin, that's what we're more like to see from this offensive line for the Redhawks up front, led by the center, Kate Draper, the left guard, Brian Bushman, the center, and left guard, Isaiah Amisone.
And you took the words right out of my mouth. I got to give some love to the big uglies up there. Brian Bushman, the center, did a great job getting up to that 2nd level and clearing a path for Fekitoa.
And now we have the Power I formation. Classic Red Hawk power football coming up right here. At a false start. That's going to set the Redhawks back 5 yards. Looked like Isaiah Amisone, the left guard, might have flinched.
And that one's going to hurt for Bountiful. I mean, you're still in a really great position, but you cannot shoot yourself in the foot in this game against this Royals team. This defense could find a way to stop you, take all the momentum away from your offense.
2nd and goal.
2nd and goal now from the 7-yard line. Play clock, of course, being kept on the field here at Ernest F. Durbano Field. There are no play clocks that we can see in our sight lines. Double tight ends again in the set. Double wide receivers to the right. Siaki Fekitoa is the setback. And they fake it to him, and Geilman throws to the end zone. Wide open! Touchdown, Redhawks, Brenton Tidwell.
Pass complete to number 16, Brenton Tidwell.
And just like that, the Redhawks answer back, Gavin, and a great response by that Bountiful team after giving up the 1-play score.
And if that play looked familiar, Then it was, because it was the same concept they ran on that first down, that little play action to Fekitoa, and then they got it to Tidwell on that out route, his 5th touchdown of the year.
Landon Zayas now for the extra point. Good snap, good hold. The kick is up, and it is good. 7's on the scoreboard with 5 minutes and 8 seconds left here at the first quarter. Buckle up, folks. We could be here a while tonight at Durbano Field. The Rewind Sports Network and our coverage of high school football will continue next week on Wednesday. That's right, Wednesday. Join Gavin Atkinson and I from Skyridge High School as American Fork and Skyridge get set to renew one of the great rivalries in Utah high school football. AF and Skyridge will throw it down next Wednesday night at 7 on the Rewind Sports Network. Landon Zaya set to kick off. After the Roy Royals scored on one play on their opening drive, the Bountiful Redhawks answer right back. As Zayas kicks a line drive, trying to keep it away from Robert Young, and he is going to step out of bounds at the 2-yard line. That's not something you see very often from Robert Young. And he's looking at the line judge saying he never stepped out, but Gavin, we had a pretty clear look at it from up here. His right toe slid on the white.
And that's just a mental mistake from him. He really should have let that one go out. At the worst, it's a touchback. At the best, it's a kickoff out of bounds. Now he's put his offense in a really tough position.
At the 2-yard line.
So Roy will have to go 98 yards on this next drive. That Bountiful drive, by the way, started at the 35 following the kickoff out of bounds, went 7 plays, 65 yards in just under 3 minutes. And we are deadlocked here at 7. What a start we've had to this one. Of the fireworks already starting here at Ernest F. Durbano Field. Ace backfield here for Drew Gardner under center. Logan Sella is the single setback. Young comes in motion. A hand it to Sella up the middle. Penalty flag goes down at the snap. And where the yellow hankies are tossed, Gavin Atkinson, I suspect this is going to be illegal motion against Robert Young for going towards the line of scrimmage.
And this will just push back Roy. I mean, half the distance to the goal, but we'll see. We'll see what Connor McGuire can draw up, as he's really in a tough situation.
A tough start here for Roy on this drive. The kickoff could have gone out of bounds. Instead, Robert Young picks it up and tried to play it on the 2-yard line and slid out of bounds. And now Roy is basically a hot dog bun and a half away from the goal line. You can't really get any closer than this. I suspect a pass is coming here, though. Here is a handoff to Sella going left side this time, and he was able to get into the stack and push his way out to about the 5-yard line. So a little bit of breathing room and a 4-yard pickup for the Royals.
And, that's a big win for this Roy offense. That a 4-yard run's a win anywhere on the field, but especially in the shadow of your own goalpost. Breathe a big sigh of relief.
Sella officially picked up 4 on the play. 2nd and 7 now from the 5. Now the shotgun, double wide receivers either side for Drew Gardner. Low snap, and he's able to get it away. And what are they going to rule it? They're going to rule it an incomplete pass, as they're going to rule Gardner shoveled it forward in the direction of Robert Young. And so that's going to bring up 3rd and 7 from the 5-yard line here for Roy.
Oh, man, and Dawson Allsup, number 12 for Bountiful. He wanted that sack. You saw him showing pressure early in that play, and he came untouched off that line. Roy really lucky that's not a safety or a strip sack.
So now the Redhawks student section across the way, turning up the volume knob a bit. 3rd down and 7 from the 5-yard line. And the first 3rd down of the night faced by Roy. Triple wide receiver lines up to the left. Gardner fakes the play action, now throws. That is caught. That's a first down. And that's Colby Froker, the senior. And that's a first down up to the 20-yard line. Pick up a 15-yard line. Pick up a 15 there for the Royals.
And that is exactly what you need. You convert the 3rd down And you got that ball over the jumping Bountiful defensive lineman. Tried to swat that one down at the line of scrimmage, and he got it just over his hands.
Threw it right over the top of Caleb Morris. Sulla now goes in motion, making it an H-back to the left. Young is in the backfield, and Young is going to get the screen here to the right side. And Young breaks a tackle. Young to the 25, and Young across the 30-yard line, brought down to the 31. That's enough for a first down. And we have a man down here on the backside of the play, and it looks like
injured player on the field.
It looks like that's the right tackle, Bo Brown, who is hurt.
And this could be a big hit to this Roy offense.
It very well could. Paris Tia now being called to the sideline here. We're going to step out for a bit, and while they tend to Bo Brown, we are tied at 7 late here in the first quarter. Bo Brown being helped off the field with some assistance here at Ernest F. Durbano Field. Alexander Timov alongside Gavin Atkinson. 3 minutes and 59 seconds left officially here in the first quarter of the Rewind Game of the Week, presented by Heidemann and Associates.
To the 31-yard line. That's another Royal.
Shotgun here for Drew Gardner. Double wide receivers to the left. And the handoff on it is a fly sweep to Kahekili Eleneke. And Eleneke has a first down all the way out to the 45-yard line.
Kili Eleneke.
And right there, we saw Bountiful bringing out a 4-2-5 package. You had a lot of man coverage on the field, and Royals receivers did a great job blocking down the field.
Studio 48.
And Sulla did a great job breaking some tackles.
Clock rolling with under 3 minutes and 15 seconds left here in the first quarter. Gardner to throw, that is complete. That's Eleneke again, and he gets hog-tied from behind as he picks up another first down to the 42-yard line. And this Roy offense right now is clicking on all cylinders.
The speed of Eleneke and just the shiftiness. You know, he has that hezzy and he gets those extra yards.
Studio 48 and Intermountain Health.
And now we have a problem, as looks like someone's going to get chased off for equipment. Kobe Froker is going to get issued the warning. And so Kili Eleneke will take his place. 3 minutes and 10 seconds left here in the first quarter. Alexander Timolip, Gavin Atkinson. The fireworks already beginning here at Durbano Field. From the shotgun, Gardner going to launch it deep for Eleneke, and it's overthrown by about a step and a half up that left sideline. Good coverage on the play by Winston Robinson.
And I got to give a shout out to Logan Selle right there. He took a big hit, you know, getting that pass block up as Bountiful, the Redhawks, had big old linebacker coming down Main Street untouched. He did just enough to protect his quarterback, even though it was incomplete.
Sulla remains the tailback now, H-back in the formation. Here is Sulla over the right side. He gets a few up to the 39-yard line, officially gain of 4.
Logan Sulla.
Before he gets ridden down on the play by Ethan Higginson, the nose tackle.
Number 67. Correction, 57. Max Manning. Ball's on the 39-yard line.
So the second third down of the game here for the Roy Royals, as they have a 3rd and 7 on the 39 of Bountiful, and they are trying to answer back. Double wide receivers and an H-back in the set. Sulla, the tailback. Bountiful looks like they're bringing an extra man off the edge, and here they come. And Gardner bails out of the pocket to the right. Got a man up the sideline, throws. That is complete. And that is a first down completion to Robert Young.
To Gardner.
So when in doubt, dial 5, the first down for the Royals.
We had a 5-on-5 matchup right there as Parker Moore was the man making the tackle. Big hit, but a great catch by Robert Young, keeping the toes in bounds and tried to turn up the field for a little more.
2 minutes left here in the first quarter. Alexander Timolip and Gavin Atkinson, the Rewind Game of the Week. No red zone tonight, folks. We're glad you joined us on this beautiful Thursday night. Double wide receivers in the formation for the senior quarterback, Drew Gardner, with Logan Sulla in the backfield. Robert Young lines up slot to the right. Gardner from the shotgun takes the snap, looking, fakes the screen. Now he's going to take off to the left, and he's going to smartly and wisely slide as he takes it to the 27-yard line. And now the clock stops with 1:27 left to go. There's no flag down on the field, so... And head coach Jason Freckleton wondering the same thing we are of why the clock has been stopped, and we're wondering the same thing. It all works out in the end, though, right, Gavin?
Yeah, I'm just as baffled as everybody else. I've been, trying to think of possibilities, but we'll see it run now.
So after that weird stoppage of the clock, 2nd and 7 now from the 27-yard line. Need to get to the 20-yard line for a first down. Ryan Foss goes in motion, handoff goes to Sella, and Sella gets stomped in the cellar. Brought down by a host of Redhawks on the play. First contact made by Connor Mertz, the middle linebacker.
And Connor Mertz, you want to know where he is on the field. 2 sacks on the year and a pick, complemented by 53 tackles. He is a great linebacker. We saw Bountiful bring a run blitz right there, getting into those holes the offensive line developed quickly, and bring down the tailback behind the line of scrimmage.
Roy already 2 for 2 on third downs on this drive. Suspect this will be the last play of the quarter with 36 seconds and rolling left here in the first period. Here is a screen to Young. Young gets a block. Young, goodbye. Touchdown.
Drew Gardner to Robert Young.
All 3 third downs on this drive. They have dialed 5, and it has worked. And Robert Young's got his 2nd touchdown of the game.
And once again, what a great play call by Connor McGuire. I love the fact that you had great blocking down the field, created that opening for Robert Young to sprint into the end zone.
Colby Froker now for the extra point. Good snap, good hold. The kick is up, and the kick just sneaks in the left upright.
Colby Froker.
And with 21 seconds left here in the first quarter, 4 drives, and we've had 3 scores. It's the Royals who are back on top late in the first quarter. 21 seconds left here in the first quarter. Alexander Smith alongside Gavin Atkinson. Robert Young has thrown a touchdown. He's now caught a touchdown. As Colby Froker gets set to kick off. And Froker, this time a much better kick, goes right through the back of the end zone. So Emerson Geilman will bring the offense back out. And Gavin, we talked about how the defenses were probably might be the story of this game. Instead, it's the offenses led by Robert Young on one side and then Siaki Fekitola on the other side for Bountiful. We might have a shootout here after all. You're right.
And I've really been impressed with Bountiful and Roy. Both, Roy scored off of that one play, trick play, but then they went and proved that they could go down the length of the field. We'll see how Bountiful responds.
That was a 98-yard touchdown drive as Fekitoa just churning the legs forward up to the 25-yard line. He picked up 5. Brought down by Jackson Schofield, and that is going to take us to the end of the first 12 minutes here this evening.
Schofield and Logan Sella.
Hey, Gavin, are you having fun yet?
Oh, I am having a blast. What a start to this game. Can't wait for the second quarter.
Well, we only have a few seconds to wait until the second quarter. It's 14-7 Roy. Back after this on the Rewind Sports Network. To have Mountain Land Truck Outfitters alongside us, proud sponsor of Rewind Sports Network coverage of high school sports and proud sponsor of your Utah Hockey Club. Just had to throw that in there. Alexander Tumulip, Gavin Atkinson here on this beautiful night in Roy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Roy High School.
And Gavin, what a start to this game here so far.
And aren't we just so spoiled? This is just such a great game. I was telling you during the break about, the atmosphere and just how energetic and fun it is. So excited to see, Bountiful's been getting some things going. We'll see if they can sustain that. 2nd and 5.
2nd and 5 from the 25. Emerson Geilman from the shotgun. Fekitoa is the back. They fake it to him out of the shotgun, and Geilman rolls to his right. He'll take off to the right, and he is going to get escorted out of bounds. He lost about a yard. Great coverage downfield from the Roy defense, and it'll bring up third down.
And yeah, you gotta credit the defensive backs there. They did a great job keeping coverage on the receivers while Geilman was trying to improvise. They stuck right on their assignments and, didn't let anybody get loose.
See if Geilman can take his team across the marker here on their first third down of the second quarter. Fekitoa goes in motion. 5 men on the rush. Geilman steps out of the pocket, has a spy on him, trying to get to that marker. He's going to back his way. He's going to be short by about a couple. And Gavin, this is judgment time here for Jason Freckleton. It looks like he's going to send the punt unit on.
And that one's just so tough. Maybe if you have 20 more yards of field position, you might start thinking a little more aggressively. But these are the plays that will define the game. These stops, 2 yards is all it takes. And then if Roy goes and has a good drive, who knows? Great stop by Roy right there.
Slater to receive the punt from Britton Tidwell. Tidwell, this time a much better punt. And it is going to take a Bountiful Redhawk bounce and is going to die at the 34-yard line.
Punt down at the 34-yard line.
So that punt traveled officially. That punt travels officially 32 yards on the play. It's a good time to remind you the Rewind Sports Network's coverage of high school football is presented by Heidemann and Associates. Proud to go above and beyond the call for the clients they serve. Call them today or visit them online for your free consultation.
And we saw one of the benefits of that rugby-style punt right there. It allows your coverage team to get down there and takes away that return.
1st and 10 from the 35 for Roy. Last drive out, they went 98 yards and into the end zone. Fake the jet sweep. Handoff goes to Sella. Breaks a tackle and then gets smothered by the pursuit. Justice Tulfa, among others, there to make the stop, and we have a late penalty flag.
37-yard line.
And it looks like we may have an unsportsmanlike conduct foul against
Tackle made by number 14, Junior Tippy.
Somebody downfield.
And number 25, Connor Mertz.
And from the spot where they're marking off the penalty, Gavin, it looks like they're going to call this against the Royals.
Yeah, and this would be another unforced error from Roy.
See what Scott Taylor has to say. Voiced, of course, by Mount Stevenson, the PA announcer.
Personal foul, face mask on the offense. 15-yard penalty.
So it's going to be 15 yards backed up, and so from the spot of the foul. So that's 15 yards. That's a big one.
And that is a drive-killing penalty right there. We'll see how the Royals respond because they have technically 4 downs to get all that yardage back. We'll see if they go for 4, but
ball's on the 22-yard line.
Well, we'll see, right?
Right.
We'll just have to see. Double back set here for Drew Gardner. Fake the handoff to Young. Free rusher coming off the edge. Gardner's in trouble. Throws. And nobody is there in the vicinity of that pass. And it did not get past the line of scrimmage either. And Gavin, Gavin, you're thinking the same thing I was. There goes the flag from Scott Taylor.
And this drive gets worse. Great job by Bountiful's pass rush. I got to show some love to those defensive linemen. Got 74 out there. I don't have him on my roster, but he did a great job. Oh, thank you for pointing it out. Josh.
That's Lillenquist.
Thank you. I was going to butcher that name. Lillenquist does a great job taking away that chuck down route. So I love that play recognition from him. And, man, does Roy find themselves in a tough position?
I mean, you're telling me. I mean, you need to get to the 44-yard line. You're at the 3-yard line.
Second down.
It is 3rd and 41. What's in the playbook here, I wonder, for offensive coordinator for Roy? Connor McGuire, I wonder. You would have to think it's probably going to be a run just to protect the punt. Logan Sella remains in the backfield. Young motions out to the left. And it is a screen to Young. Young's just going to try to pick up as much as he can. Can he get there before the pursuit gets there, though? And he will not. He gets run over at about the 29-ish yard line. So of the 41 yards, Gavin, he picked up about 26. It'll still be 4th and a mile here for the Roy Royal. Or they're going to mark it 3rd down. Wait, this should be 4th down because this should be 4th down because of the intentional grounding. Now wait a minute here. This should be 4th down, Gavin, because the loss of down includes a 3rd down, so this should be 4th down. I don't know how anybody hasn't seen this. Gardner's going to take off and throw. It's complete to Sella, trying to get a couple of blocks. And Lillenquist finally comes over to diagnose the play. And Jason Freckleton is going insane here on the sideline. Gavin, this should be 1st down for Bountiful on the 34-yard line. I don't know how anybody didn't see it. Wow.
Crazy turn of events right there. But as they say, the ball does not lie. Roy does not get the first down. It does not. But you will lose a lot of field position.
So in essence, Roy had a 5th down on that play as Froker will kick it. And it's a high spiral taken on the run there by Murdoch. Murdoch gets to the 36-yard line, and he gets run over by the pursuit at the 34-yard line.
Bountiful, a little lucky there wasn't a block in the back right there. Just not enough contact for the official to throw the flag, but it was on that line. But Bountiful's defense did its job. We'll see what its offense can do. They got Roy behind the sticks and made it super tough for them to get that 1st down, but now it's the offensive turn.
Double wide receiver now lines up to the right. Emerson Geilman in the shotgun. Siaki Feki Toa is the single setback. He gets it to the right side, bounces it to the right. He's got a couple of blocks, and he's got a space. And Feki Toa rumbles his way close to midfield, finally brought down by Schofield. And by far the longest gain of the night for Siaki Feki Toa.
And man, he is so tough. That's originally designed as an inside run. He's supposed to go between the right guard and the right tackle. That hole was closed up. He bounces it to the edge and then just outruns a couple guys. He's got the power and the speed. What a weapon Bountiful has on offense.
1st and 10 from midfield even for Bountiful. And again, it's a handoff to Feki Toa, and he'll march his way into the stack. He'll get maybe a couple, and they are able to tackle him in a manner of speaking at about the 48-yard line.
You stop his progress, but you do not bring him down.
2nd down, 8 yards to go.
And that is one thing to think about with the run game. Teams that are heavy runners, it is not going to be a 20-yard gain, a 10-yard gain every play. You're going to have those just nothing gains, and you've got to keep with it. You can't lose faith in that run game.
2nd and 8 now from the 48 for the Bountiful Redhawks. Feki Toa goes out into the pattern. Geilman throws a dart over the middle. That is complete to Tidwell, and Tidwell is gone. Touchdown, Bountiful.
Touchdown, Bountiful.
48-yard touchdown strike. And the 2nd of the game for Tidwell. And just as they did, Bountiful answers right back with 7:12 to go in the 2nd. We're an extra point from a tie game.
And this is what's so tough about Bountiful. They have that run game and the pass game. We saw Roy adjust for the run game by bringing down that safety. They didn't have anyone high. So once that Roy defender got beat, there was no help.
And Zayas now for the extra point out of the hold of Winston Robinson. It is up, and it is good. And with 7 minutes and 12 seconds left here in the 2nd quarter, we are all even at 14 apiece. Back after this word from UCCU on the Rewind Sports Network. 8-yard strike from Emerson Geilman to Britton Tidwell. Second time those two have hooked up tonight, and Bountiful has deadlocked this one with the Royals of Roy. Kickoff by Landon Zayas. This time will go right through the back. Well, actually, we'll go to the 1, and Robert Young's going to have a chance to return it. And Young's got a hole! And Young's got speed!
Wow.
Young! No flags! Goodbye! Touchdown, Roy Rolls! 99 yards!
99-yard touchdown return.
And Young shows exactly why they were scribbing those kicks. He's so fast and he's able to find those holes. Great ball carrier vision and swings the momentum back into Roy's favor.
Robert Young has a receiving touchdown, a passing touchdown, and now a kickoff return touchdown as the extra point is up, and it is good. 21-14 Roy. So, Gavin, we talked about how coming in, this was going to be a star power battle between these two teams. And so far, it's Robert Young 21, Bountiful 14.
And he has been incredible. He had that passing touchdown, he had that special teams touchdown, and he had that receiving touchdown on this game. He has been a stud on the field throughout. Really impressed with this kid so far.
He has 3 touchdowns now and 162 total yards. And we haven't even played half of the second quarter yet. What an incredible weapon, and you can understand why the students were chanting MVP. He definitely has a chance to be the dark horse candidate for Deseret News Mr. Football this season. Colby Froker will kick off, and this kickoff this time will go right through the back of the end zone.
Ball comes out to the 20-yard line, 1st and 10, Bountiful.
So now it comes down to, Gavin, I turn to you. I mean, it just seems like this game is going to be a game of momentum swings now with the way these two teams have been playing.
And you gotta, so far we've seen 2 of Roy's touchdowns come off of these big shot plays, these big plays. So far, Bountiful's done a decent job on defense, but you've got to find a way to sustain that offense, and that is so hard to do against a defense like this.
Fekitoa up the middle for 5, maybe 6 yards. Alexander Tubub alongside Gavin Atkinson. In case anybody missed it, Britton Tidwell into the end zone from 48 yards out, and then Roy's Robert Young with his 3rd touchdown of the ball game, a 99-yard kickoff return. This followed, of course, he threw a 35-yard touchdown pass on the first offensive play from scrimmage for the Royals, and then scored on a 28-yard receiving touchdown late in the first quarter. Fekitoa next to Geilman in the shotgun. Man goes in motion, fake to that man, and the handoff goes to Fekitoa, and he is swallowed up. Ainge Ahui, the first contact.
Great job by Roy's defense getting into the backfield, getting that tackle for loss. Brings up 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6. We'll see what is in the playbook for Bountiful.
Big 3rd down here. They need 5 to get to the 30-yard line. Tidwell lines up in the slot to the right. Geilman to take the snap. Extra man on the rush. Throws. And looking for Fekitoa. Trying to get it out there quickly and incomplete.
Brings up 4th down.
And it's 4th down. And the Redhawks will have to punt it away.
And boy, is that momentum important as you're about to punt the ball back to this Roy offense. We'll see if Bountiful's defense can come big. Maybe something good will happen, something we don't expect from this special teams.
Well, we've already had 2 kickoffs go out of bounds.
Tidwell.
Tidwell, it's a punt. Rugby-style kick, rolls out to the right and hits a beauty. End over ender, and it is taken on the run by Slater. And Slater is one-on-one dropped at the 46-yard line, at the 43-yard line rather, and that's going to be good field position for the Royals to go back to work. The Rewind Sports Network and our coverage of high school football continues next week.
Tackle made by number 11. Jackson goes.
Join Jake Hatch and Nate Carter from Saratoga Springs as Westlake closes out their season against the Lone Peak Knights. Coverage starts next week, Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com.
And if you're a sports fan, you've got to love it. You know, that's been one of your plagues all your life is not having football on Wednesdays. Now you've got week-long football Monday through Sunday. With high school football, if you count it.
You got football all week. First and 10 from the 43-yard line. Handoff goes to Sella, stumbles into the secondary, and finally gets wedged to the turf. At about the 39-yard line, picked up about maybe 4 on the play for the Royals. As the next snap will take us under 5 minutes.
Great job fighting through that arm tackle.
And number 42.
And getting those extra yards.
Justice Taufa
in on the stop.
6 yards to go.
Second down and 6 from the 39. Ryan Foss goes in motion, now makes it an H-back to the left. Here's a handoff, this time to Sella. Helmet pops off as Sella gets smothered at about the 36-yard line.
On the carry.
Alfie Hurtado, the left guard, had his helmet come flying off out of the pile.
Number 74, Caleb Norris.
As Caleb Norris made the stop. And third down coming up here for the Royals. Royals have scored on 3 of their 4 offensive possessions. Both teams have punted on possessions. Royals have punted once. Redhawks have punted twice. And it looks like we're having some confusion here on the line,
and it is great to see Bo Brown back out there on the field.
Third down and 2. Here's the Wildcat for Robert Young. And a timeout is called by head coach Chris Solomona before anything happens. And we'll take one with them as well. 4 minutes and 2 seconds left here in the first half. Roy looking to counter, punch again. They're already up 21-14 and looking for more. Back here at Ernest F. Durbano Field on the campus of Roy High School. Alexander Timmel alongside Gavin Atkinson. Glad you could join us for the KSL Sports Rewind Game of the Week presented by Heidemann and Associates. Call them today, 801-754-4240, or visit them online at utah.law for your free consultation. So, Gavin, interesting play call coming up here for offensive coordinator Connor McGuire, because conceivably it seems like you have 2 downs to pick up these 3 yards.
And this is a game-defining play, or maybe I'll rescind that and say a half-defining play. If you can get this first down and keep this drive going, you can take a double-digit lead into halftime. But if you're Bountiful, you can save your offense after that little bit of a sputter on that last possession. If you can get off the field here, maybe your offense can go down and create something and go to the half tied. Really interesting situation right here.
And we have another timeout. This time it's called by Bountiful. Or rather, we have a stoppage. The clock was running. Clock read clock reached 3:51 here at Durbano Field. It should actually read 4:02 on the clock, so they'll take some time to reset that. Robert Young
reset at 4 minutes 2 seconds.
Robert Young is in the Wildcat. Logan Sella is the single setback. As we're waiting for that clock to get reset, now we will. Third down and 2, and now
it's a timeout.
Defensive coordinator Jason Walker will take a snapshot of what's on the field and call a timeout.
Just shows the importance of this down for both teams. Both teams taking a second to talk about it.
Well, because Gavin, if you think about it, like we just said a little bit ago, Roy's basically might have 2 downs to get 3 yards here. And I think Jason Freckleton and his defensive coordinator, Jason Walker here, like you said, they know the importance of this 3rd down. If they stop Roy here, they could potentially force a 4th down try, or they could potentially get them off the field if they get their cards right.
And this is something you've got to be disciplined on. You know, if you're Roy, you can't have a false start. You can't have a holding. You can't have anything that shoots you in the foot. And on the other side of the field, Bountiful, they can't jump. They can't touch player encroachment, anything that would give them give Roy a free 1st down. You got to play sound football here. We'll see if they can.
2 timeouts left for either side. And again, the Wildcat formation. Everybody bunched in tight on the line. Robert Young in the shotgun. And he is going to think about throwing. Now the blitz comes, and he's going to throw up the sideline, and it is broken up. What a great play made out there on the edge by Isake Willis, the backup safety. And it's 4th down, and now decision time here for offensive coordinator Connor McGuire and head coach Chris Solomona.
And a great recovery by Willis right there. He looked like he had gotten beat, but he does a great job getting up in the air, getting his hand there and just tipping it. Last second brings up this 4th and 3, and we'll see Roy go for it.
They may try to jump him offside. We'll see. 4th and 3 from the 36. As the Redhawks section trying to turn up the volume knob. Froker comes in motion. They'll give it to him. It's a reverse back to Young. Young trying to get the edge. Young's got the 1st down and more as he's shoved out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Check that. It's actually Zane Morris.
And right there we saw, once again, Willis, the backup safety, have a chance. He recognized the reverse, and he just wasn't able to wrap up Morris behind the line. Great play call. Been very impressed by Connor McGuire so far in this game.
Courtesy Studio 48.
So 1st and 10 now from the Bountiful 21 as Roy looks to take a 2-score lead going into halftime. Remember, Royals will get the football to begin half number 2, and again the Wildcat formation remains in. And Young this time is going to run it to the right side, and he's going to have a seam to the right side, and Robert Young is going to score! Touchdown, Royals!
Touchdown, Royals!
Hold on a minute. I thought I saw a penalty flag, but I'm mistaken. It's just the hash mark I'm looking at. You were about to say.
And give him 4 touchdowns on the game. A passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, a special teams return touchdown, and now a rushing touchdown. One of the things a Wildcat brings you is an extra blocker, and we saw that blocker extremely useful there.
Colby Froker now for the extra point. Out of the hold of Robert Young. Good snap, good hold. Froker's kick is up, and it is good. 28-14 Roy.
Touchdown.
With 2 unanswered scores now. They lead 28-14 here with under 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. Robert Young, what more can you say? He has all 4 touchdowns for the Roy Royals as the number 1 team in 5A. Now up by 14 points as Froker pulls this one to the left, but it stays just enough in bounds. It'll go through the end zone for a touchback. And with Roy getting the second half kickoff, Gavin, this turns into a big drive here for the Bountiful Redhawks.
And it's a big drive for Roy's defense, too. If you can get a stop, you know, this half ain't over, but Bountiful needs to find a way to respond, get some momentum back, and they've played really well up until this point. They've got to get the ball back into their weapons, let the offense come naturally. Don't try to force anything and avoid any turnovers.
1st and 10 from the 20-yard line for Emerson Geilman and co. Feki Tola remains the single setback. 4 men on the rush. Geilman throws for Tidwell. Penalty flag goes down in the secondary, and another one goes down on that sideline. And where the yellow hankies are tossed, I suspect this is going to be pass interference and a holding in the defensive secondary against the Royals.
And this will be a great start to Bountiful's drive. Get something going. get some momentum back for you. You know, you kind of lost a lot of it on that last drive and that score
on the defense
from Roy, as it is a pass interference, as you said. You know, that gives you those extra yards, that first down. And it's just a boost of confidence for your team.
So move it up to the 35-yard line, 1st and 10.
Penalty takes about to the 35-yard line, 1st and 10.
Britton Tidwell has both touchdowns for the Redhawks in this first half. Robert Young has all 4 touchdowns for the Royals here in this first half as well. Blitz coming on Geilman, bails out to the left, rolls to his left. Now he's going to get outside the pocket. Maybe had a chance to cut it back up that sideline, but instead he goes out of bounds. After he goes out after about maybe a yard.
And out of bounds by Logan Sella.
You know, if he gets by Logan Sella, Gavin, maybe Geilman has a chance to cut it back to the inside.
And you got to give a ton of credit to that Roy defensive 3. They only brought 3 guys on that play, but they found a way to flush that quarterback. They got some pressure on him, and that down amounted to not much.
3:22 left here in what's been a offensive explosion here in the first half. Geilman drops the snap. Penalty flag goes down. Geilman has some room if he wants it. Now he's going to take off and run. Actually ran into Feki Toa and then tumbles out of bounds. There's also a flag down here on our near sideline, and so I suspect this could be offside against the Royals. Or it's going to be an illegal shift, it looks like, against the Redhawks, but we'll see what Scott Taylor says. Because if it was a false, if it was called a false start, then or an offside, the play should have automatically been whistled dead. But the play was not whistled dead, so I wonder that they'll just pick this flag up. Jason Freckleton standing out on that far sideline looking down the line at the officials, and Chris Solomona doing the same. Yeah, they just picked up the flag. Yes, because Gavin, the rule of thumb is if it's an offside or a false start, then the play should automatically be whistled dead, but because the play was already running, by letter of the law, they have to pick up the flag.
And boy, is that frustrating for Roy.
Yeah, and I know the crowd doesn't like it, but it's the right move.
Well, I would say it's the less bad move.
Right.
You know, you want that play whistled. But the thing to remember is refs aren't perfect. They're human. Things are going to happen. And they're upset with this call. Brings up third and 5. We'll see if this defense can make a big stop.
And Chris Solomona is going absolutely berserk
on the offense.
And now they've called the illegal shift. And now Jason Freckleton wants an explanation.
A very interesting.
I am very confused now.
Very interesting few moments as we saw Bountiful lining up on that 40-yard line to go for that third down conversion. Then we have the illegal shift called, and now the ball's been moved back.
So after all of that, it's going to be 2nd and 14. So we're going to do it again.
Second down.
Ultimately, I believe it was the right call.
2nd down and 14 now from the 31. Here's Feki Toa going left side. Feki Toa has a block. And now we have a penalty flag down at the end of it. And I suspect that this is going to be a face mask against Roy. So,
penalty marker on the
Gavin, in about the span of 3 plays, we've had about 6 penalties.
And all of that negated by the Feki Toa run and the face mask.
This is fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's great to be out
fun.
here.
Personal foul.
So Scott Taylor calls the face mask. That is the 6th penalty already against Roy here in this first half, and it's a biggie.
And those are the penalties that will drive a coach crazy. You're up 14. Your defense has been playing well, and then these penalties will just give Bountiful some momentum, something to work with.
So on the 44-yard line of Roy now, 1st and 10, under 3 minutes to go. triple wide receiver lines up to the right. Geilman in the shotgun. They only bring 3, and he's got time, and the pass is dropped.
Pass incomplete.
That's in and out of the hands of Junior Tippy.
Junior Tippy.
And Tippy had some room to run down the seam if he had that catch.
Yeah, sometimes you just get a little too excited when you see that open space. You try and turn up the field before you have the ball. I believe that's what he did there.
2nd and 10 from the 44. 2:57 left to go first half. Geilman in the shotgun. Fekitoa, the running back. They bring an extra off the edge. It's picked up. Geilman guns it over the middle. That's complete. That's a first down and plenty more. And brought down inside the 25-yard line is, guess who? Junior Tippy, able to tippy-toe his way for a first down close to the red zone.
1st and 10.
As Geilman and the crew a little quick here. Fekitoa remains the single setback as Geilman from the shotgun takes the snap. 4 men on the rush. Good protection. Bails out. Runs to the right side. Geilman's got speed. And Geilman is going to step out of bounds at the 7-yard line. And yes,
At the 8-yard line.
he just barely could not keep his balance in bounds.
Oh, that's going to make him tear his hair out because he did not have to walk that tightrope on the sideline. He had 5-10 yards, not really any defender in the area to tackle him, and that could end up being a big mistake.
I think Jason Freckleton's probably going to have a field day with him in the film room about that one, as Chris Solomona is going to take a timeout with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first half, but we will keep it right here and remind you the Rewind Sports Network's coverage of high school football will continue next Wednesday night. Join Alex Napolis and Brian Brown from Orem for the renewal of one of the greatest rivalries in 5A. The Timpview Thunderbirds take on the Orem Tigers.
Please come down to the track.
Join Alex Napolis and the Brown Bear live at 7 p.m. from Tiger Stadium in the heart of the Valley next Wednesday on your home for Orem football, the Rewind Sports Network. Alexander Tumalip alongside Gavin Atkinson here at Ernest F. Durbano Field here in Roy, Utah. And Gavin, what a first half this has been, and now Bountiful on the doorstep potentially of making this a one-score game, and how big that would be. Even if they're able to put just 3 on the board before halftime, how big that would be for head coach Jason Freckleton and his boys.
It's massive for your momentum, and if I can go back to that big old throw we saw just a few plays ago, we saw Roy running a zone coverage. They haven't run a lot of zone today, and that's because Bountiful's offensive line gave their quarterback enough time to find the hole.
First and goal at the 8.
First and 10, or first and goal now from the 8, and we have a penalty flag. It came from the umpire, and it looks like it's going to be offside, I think. Or is it no flag?
Penalty.
Nobody was ready for play again. Second time on this drive that Scott Taylor's crew has mistakenly thrown a flag. First and goal now from the 8. Fake the pitch, screen to Fekitoa, and Fekitoa is going to get taken down at about the 5-yard line. Jackson Schofield, it looked like Fekitoa had a freeway to walk into the end zone, but Schofield fought through the block on the right guard, Brian Sotke, and sucked him to the turf.
I mean, we saw a pancake right there, and usually it's the offensive lineman bringing out the pancakes. Great job by Schofield to to make the play.
Second and goal from the 6. Fekitoa remains the back. They give to Fekitoa. Fekitoa powering his way forward, close to the goal line, and he's going to get down to the 1. And you would suspect
of the goal line.
The big boys are coming in here for Jason Freckleton.
And I suspect they'll use just about all the play clock right here. They don't want to leave the Royals with any time to respond. As I imagine they'll hand this one to Fekitoa.
You would think. And you'd also
Stranger things have happened.
Yes. And you'd also think this might be 4-down territory for Bountiful, as we're going to have a timeout call by Chris Solomona before all that begins. Perhaps it might be 2 downs to pick up 1 yard for the Bountiful Redhawks. We'll find out when we come back.
In the drum line.
Alexander Timolip alongside Gavin Atkinson here at Ernest F. Durbano Field. 3rd and goal coming up from about the 1.5 yard line for the Bountiful Redhawks, who trail 28-14 to Roy. But a score on this drive of any kind will give the Bountiful Redhawks some much needed momentum going into halftime after getting punched in the mouth by Robert Young, who has scored all 4 touchdowns here in this first half for the Royals. Power I formation. Geilman just going to keep it himself, and no signal. Everybody thinks he's across. I think he's across. And they're going to say he's short. And by that much, it's going to be 4th down and goal, and I would think it's going to be 4th and goal. They're going to go for it. And we have a flag.
Penalty marker on the play.
As it looks like the Royals defensive line got way too excited on that play. So Gavin, you can't really get any closer than this.
Boy, does that... They'll just eyeball it. They'll
Offsides on the defense.
But boy, does Roy have a chance to make an incredible stand and take an insane amount of momentum into the locker room. We'll see if they can do it. Bountiful got to find a way to put it in.
Geilman sneaks it, goes over the top, and scores! Touchdown!
And right there, we'll see. You know, Roy's going to... We see a Roy player running down the sideline, thinks he's got it. It is as soon as that ball crosses the goal line, that play is dead. It is a touchdown. As soon as that ball crosses the goal line and he has possession, play is dead. So we see it got knocked out, but it was after the play was dead.
Yeah, and it was clearly across the line, too. We saw it break the plane clear from where we were standing. And so with 49 seconds left, Landon Zayas now to make this a 1-possession game once again. Out of the hold of Robinson. Good snap, good hold. The kick is up, and it is good. And Bountiful has made this a 1-possession game with 49 seconds left here in the first half. Good time to remind you the Rewind Sports Network's coverage of the Game of the Week is presented by Burt Brothers, where auto care is done better, and also presented by Heidemann and Associates. Get your free consultation with them courtesy of the Rewind Sports Network today by calling them or visiting them online courtesy of the Rewind Sports Network. Alexander Timolip alongside Gavin Atkinson here at Ernest F. Durbano Field here in Roy, Utah. Gavin, I mean, this first half, this game has lived up to everything we thought it would be. Here is Roy up 28-21 late here in the first half, and really what has been a kind of a half of momentum swings here in this one.
And you're exactly right. We'll see, 49 seconds is an eternity for this Bountiful defense to try and defend. Roy's offense has been so explosive, especially Robert Young. We'll see what they can manufacture or how aggressive they want to be.
And Zayas will kick off. It is a line drive kick, and that is going to go right through the back of the end zone.
Kick off into the end zone.
And so the Royals will start from the 20-yard line, and they have no timeouts left. And so they'll have to go probably about 60 yards or not 60 yards, excuse me, 40 yards or so, 45 yards or so to get in reasonable field goal range for Colby Froyer, who, by the way, Gavin, hit a 51-yard field goal here 2 years ago against West. So Froker has the leg. 5 wide receivers here for Drew Gardner. Just 3 men on the rush. It looks like they're just dropping 8 into coverage. Pass is caught. That's Kahekili Eleneke. And Eleneke is going to be brought down in the field of play. And they got to move. Eleneke. Gardner looking to the sideline for the call. Clock running 37 seconds. They got to move. And they got to go fast. 30 seconds. A lot of time being taken off. Gardner, 3-man rush, throws to the sideline, throws it out of bounds and incomplete with 26 seconds left. And Gavin, I suspect with it being third down, maybe they try for one more play to try to get down the field, because I don't think you want to turn it over here in your own territory.
And you're exactly right there. There's too many unknowns. You could have a lapse on special teams. I wouldn't be surprised if they ran out the clock and went into halftime up 7.
Rhett Slater now lines up as the running back, so I assume that's exactly what they're going to do. With just 26 seconds left here in the first half, Gardner to throw. It is complete. Getting out of bounds and stopping the clock, but well short of the first down is Morris. And there's just 21 seconds left here in the first half, and that was really interesting. Boy, Gavin, that was some interesting play call there by offensive coordinator Connor McGuire there, wasn't it? I mean, you would think Morris would have gone out of bounds, but now he stops the clock, and now Bountiful's got a chance here.
And that's what you got to tell your receiver right there. If you're going to run that bubble screen and he's got nothing there, you tell him, cut back into the field. Let that clock run out or make Bountiful use a timeout, because now they've got 2 timeouts and possession barring anything crazy.
Colby Froker will kick it away. Almost got blocked. And it's a good punt. And it is fair caught at the 30-yard line with 14 seconds left by Birmingham. So 14 seconds left.
We'll
and
see.
2 timeouts left for Bountiful. Let's see how offensive coordinator and head coach Jason Freckleton want to play this.
Yeah. You know, you've got the 14 seconds, and that punt took off about 7 seconds off the clock. It would be really hard to manufacture something, but you can't take those timeouts with you. So I imagine they'll try. Take a shot down the field. If that doesn't work, let's head to the locker room.
Fekitoa remains in the backfield as the single setback on 1st and 10. And they play action to him. Geilman rolling up the sideline, going to roll to the left and get out of bounds and stop the clock with 7 seconds left here in the first half.
On the scramble, out of bounds.
And there was nothing really downfield.
Yeah, we saw them run a fade route on the far side, and on the near side to us, they were running just a deep post. You know, nothing there as Roy's defense is disciplined and knowing what they're going to try to do. I don't believe anybody was faked out by that play action. We'll see what Bountiful does right here.
So 2 timeouts still left for Bountiful, but only 7 seconds. And you'd have to think a shot downfield of some kind is coming here. No, they're just going to hand it off to Fekitoa. And Fekitoa is going to get through this seam and be brought down. And the clock will stop officially with 1/10 of a second left, but by rule, that's automatically going to be a timeout called. So technically, there's still 1 second on the clock here. And with 1 second left, the ball is resting at the 47-yard line of Roy after the run by Siaki Fekitoa. And given where the ball is on the field here, Gavin, I would assume we're about to see a Hail Mary thrown up here by Emerson Geilman.
And I tell you, Alex, I have seen some crazy things in this type of situation. I remember seeing a throw from Lance Reynolds to one Roger Saleapaga at the end of a half that actually got taken away by a penalty, and then they did it again. They went back and did it again, resulting in a touchdown. So we'll see what Bountiful can do here. You know, Roy's talking to their guys saying, keep everything in front of you. Don't let anything behind you, and swat the ball down.
So 1 second officially. Geilman, just 3 men on the rush. He gets pressured. He throws down the field. It is caught. Little hook and ladder. Fekitoa gonna rugby toss it across the field. And getting close in. Is it a touchdown? Yes, it is. Unbelievable. And there are no flags. How crazy is this? How crazy?
You know, Alex, that might be my favorite football play I've seen in high school so far. You see the hook and ladder, and then you just see a beautiful rugby toss to get it to the far side. Oh, man, Roy's got to be kicking themselves for how aggressive they played on that last possession, but you couldn't have known. What a great play by Bountiful.
And Jason Freckleton, understandably so, going to take a timeout just to get his team settled before we head to halftime for the extra point. Gavin, I don't believe it. In a half that's seen just about everything. Folks, we kicked this game off at 7 o'clock p.m. It's currently 8:20. This is... How crazy has this been?
It has been an incredible half, and that reminds me of one famous play between Boise State and Oklahoma.
Why did I think you're going to bring that up?
Oh, because was it a play that defined college football, and we saw something similar right there.
You're making my heart hurt right now.
I apologize. I forget you are a Hawaii fan.
Lest you forget, I was cheering for Oklahoma in that game. I didn't want Boise State winning that. Anyway, Landon Zayas to tie the game going into halftime. Good snap, good hold, and we are deadlocked at 28. Wow.
That's all you can say.
How crazy this first half has been. I mean, Gavin, if that's not the play of the year in high school football, I don't know what is.
It's definitely been the best play I've seen up until this season. Great play design and even better execution. It's so easy to throw that ball forward, but they did a great job of getting that behind him, making sure it's a lateral. And boy, are they going into the locker room with the momentum.
So let's take a step back here, Gavin, from this first half, because like we said, this was a first half of momentum swings, and we saw it play out. Boy, that kickoff return by Robert Young, they seemed like they had the momentum, went up 2 scores, but Bountiful, how about Emerson Gileman coming back, 2 touchdown drives in the final near 90 seconds to tie the game before halftime. This just shows you how good these two teams are.
And aren't they just, they're so even, they're so good. We're going to see some interesting adjustments at halftime, and I can't wait.
Well, I don't know about you, Gavin, but I need a break. I need to catch my breath here for the second half. I don't know if you have it. I don't know if you have enough left in the tank, but I got enough, hopefully, for the second half. Well, anyway, folks, we're going to take a break here for halftime. What a first half between Bountiful and Roy. 56 total points, plenty of fireworks, and we're not done yet. Take a breath and come on back. The second half is next on the Rewind Game of the Week. Everybody to the Rewind Sports Network and our coverage of the Game of the Week presented by Heidemann and Associates. Alexander Timolip, Gavin Atkinson joining you here from Ernest F. Durbano Field here in Roy, Utah. Whew, Gavin, if you've caught your breath yet, we're tied at 28 as we get set to start the third quarter here. Bountiful about to take the field. I mean, this really has been a first half of momentum swings, but not just small momentum swings, Gavin. These have been pendulum swings, back and forth and back and forth. And you just wonder where this pendulum is going to swing next.
And that's a great point, Alex, because when Bountiful was down 28-14 and they were playing a little more aggressive, I thought Roy had a chance to make it 35-14 with the way their defense has played. But credit to Bountiful, they have played outstanding in that final 4 minutes of that second quarter. I believe, halftime adjustments had to be made. Bountiful's got to know where Robert Young is on the field. Not that you'll be able to stop him, but at least slow him down. And Roy's got to find a way, take a breather. You had a lot of good things going for you in that first half. Now you just got to find a way to fix what went wrong.
And this is the other thing too, Gavin. No turnovers at all in the first half. Absolutely 0 turnovers. And you said coming into the game that Bountiful's going to have to force a couple of turnovers you'd have to think also, in addition to knowing where Robert Young is on the field, it seems like Jason Walker's going to have to realize, at some point, he might have to turn up the heat a little bit on Drew Gardner in the second half.
And that is one of the biggest keys to causing turnovers. But when you have a quarterback like Drew Gardner, man, it is tough. He's thrown 3 picks through 8 games and a half. So he's very careful with the football. He does not force it into tight places. You got to find a way to make him uncomfortable, make him see some ghosts. I'm very interested to see, one of the underlying stories, I think, is this head coaching battle. These 2 head coaches have both been excellent so far in their time with these programs, starting with Bountiful's Jason Freckleton. He is 39-17 in his time here at Bountiful, and then you go to the other side with Chris Solomona, and he is 24-7. So these guys are not accustomed to losing. They know how to make these adjustments. Question's going to be, someone has to lose. Who made the better adjustments?
And just think about it, too. I mean, Chris Solomona, 2 years ago, Roy, this team was just starting to be on the rise. And you look at Bountiful, same thing with them. They were just starting to be on the rise. And you kind of get the sense that this matchup, these 2 teams have been meeting since 1973. And I told you, and Josh Dodger, cameraman Gavin, coming into this may be the biggest matchup since these 2 teams met in the 4A semifinals back in 1975. And that was when Bountiful defeated a 10-0 Roy team in those semifinals.
And the chance for Roy to make some history and go 9-0 for the first time in quite a few years. Like, there's so many underlying storylines. But if you are a player and if you're a coach, you got to make sure if you're the player, or your players, if you're the coach, you can't get caught up in that. You got to view this as any other game. You got to find a way. I love what Kalani Sitake says. Go 1-0. Find a way to win this game. Don't get caught up in the record. Don't get caught up in the history. Find a way to win, then celebrate on Friday, I guess, in this sense.
In this sense, yes. Bountiful, like we said, last time these 2 teams met with an undefeated Roy, the Redhawks took down the Roy Royals. 37-14 was the score in that game in the 4A semifinals back in 1975, and then in 1980, Bountiful and Roy met again, and Roy prevailed in that one 17-13. Far cry from the 8-7 win that Roy had, I think, Gavin, in their first meeting back in 1973, isn't it?
Boy, has football changed in those 50 years.
Bountiful, like we said, will kick the ball off to start the second half. Roy Royals will have the football to start, wanting to get some momentum back on their side after giving up that 14-point lead late in the first half with a 14-point surge by the Redhawks in just under 2 minutes. Emerson Geilman got into the end zone on a 1-yard touchdown run on 4th and goal. And then an absolutely insane play. The hook and ladder from Emerson Geilman to Britton Tidwell, then to Siaki Fekitoa, who lateraled it back across to Zeke Murdoch for a 48-yard touchdown as time expired in the first half, and that's where we stand as we begin the second 24 minutes, as we were dead even. And it's a pooch kick by Zayas, trying to keep it away, and it's a loose ball on the turf, and a pileup ensues, and the Redhawks have it!
Man, what a great time to pull out that little punt. It's almost an onside kick, but not really. You're kicking it to one of the big guys who may not have the best hands, and that guy has to fall on it, because if he doesn't, Bountiful doesn't down it, they get possession. It acts like an onside kick, as we saw right there. He muffs it, doesn't get good hands on it, and boy, Bountiful really swinging the momentum back in their favor, or feeding off that momentum from that end of the half.
So 1st and 10 for Geilman and Co. Play action to Fekitoa. Pressure coming. Now gets rid of it to Fekitoa. He has a block.
Ooh.
Gets off a tackle. Still on his feet. And finally waffled to the turf at the 45-yard line. I mean, Gavin, I told you this in the break. We might as well say it now. He almost reminds you of a Tyler Algier type where you can't really bring him down unless the whole cavalry gets over there.
And right there, I know these are two different leagues, and this is kind of a wild comparison. But he looked like Derrick Henry with that stiff arm, just pushing the guy off him. The strength of Fekitoa is just outstanding.
Now we have another clock issue here as the umpire comes sprinting in from the back. Well, actually, I think we're going to have a stoppage of play because there are people seated on the benches behind the goals. And I believe they're going to try to clear that out from the back. They'll bring Jason Freckleton and Chris Solomona to midfield as they try to clear the end zones. But anyway, Gavin, getting back to this, I mean, what a start to this second half. The Bountiful Redhawks, like you said, building off that momentum they had in the first half. Now here they are on the 35-yard line of the Royals. They have not led all night, and they could take their first lead of the game here.
And boy, would that be huge, and that would be so disheartening for Roy to see. You know, you're expecting it to get the ball. You have your offense ready to run out there. You have your first 15 or so plays scripted from the offensive coordinator, and you're ready to get going. You want to find a way to get that momentum back in your favor. You've been itching for 15 minutes to do it, and Bountiful says, we're not going to let you do it yet.
They said, hold my root beer. That's basically what they said. And now Jason Freckleton going to get the troops together over on that far sideline. And this is something that we typically see when the officials stop play because of some funny business, as we like to call it. Alexander Timolip and Gavin Atkinson here at Ernest F. Durbano Field here in Roy, Utah. What a game we've had so far. Roy jumped out to a 14-7 lead. Then they jumped out to a 28-14 lead, but Bountiful has responded each time. And here we are, deadlocked at 28 as we get set to run another play here after the officials stopped the play for a few moments because of some unsportsmanlike conduct that was going on between the benches and from the fans that are seated behind each of the teams here this evening. We expected that, though. Emotions are running high, and we expected that.
In a game that means this much to both teams, you got to find a way to keep your emotions in check.
Second down and 7 now following the stoppage from the 35. Fekitoa takes it to the left side, cuts it back, and he trips on the turf monster. He had some room to cut it back to that right side, but it'll bring a third down here for Bountiful.
And that's what's so tough about this Bountiful offense again. You see them run that little read, that option, and the quarterback gives it to Fekitoa at last second, making that defensive end for Roy commit to the quarterback, and he had a lot of room to rumble if he didn't get tripped up.
Third down. Here is a handoff. This is Murdoch to the left side. Penalty flag goes down, and he is brought down at the 30, short of the marker. And I would assume where the yellow hanky is tossed. Gavin Atkinson, this is coming back.
Yeah, I believe that was the edge. You know, they're trying to get that edge set, couldn't quite do it. And as Fekitoa is running to that outside side of the field, just trying to give him something to work with.
Looked like it was the left tackle on that left side, Will Nixon, that's going to get called for the holding. And it's going to make it third and longer here for Bountiful.
10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
And we've talked about momentum this entire half. You know, all of these minute and 30 seconds. But right there, you know, these penalties will kill any and all momentum that you build. They're so dangerous. It's not just the 10 yards you lose.
Kylman from the shotgun. 3 men on the rush. He's got time. Steps up, throws, caught, first down. Junior Tippy with his second big play in as many plays, and a big third down conversion there for the Redhawks.
And boy, is that a big catch to make.
26-yard line.
You know, you have them running that little man coverage and just does enough, stays in the pocket long enough and finds the open man.
Junior Tippy, the 5'9" senior. First and 10 now from the Royal 26. Skylman, quarterback draw, up the middle, stiff arms a man out of his way, and then he finally gets clobbered at about the 21-yard line. Jackson Schofield finally drug him to the grass.
Emerson Geilman on the keeper. Takes the ball to the 22-yard line.
Reminder, Bountiful has not led in this game here tonight. They have been tied. They have been tied 3 times, but they have not taken the lead. And it would just add to the drama of this one. Remember, Bountiful has not beaten an undefeated Roy team since 1975. It has been 49 years since that 4A semifinal. Geilman hands off to, keeps it. Geilman's got space. Geilman to the end zone. Touchdown, but there is a flag down on the play, and this is coming back.
Oh, and that one hurts, you know, unforced error, but once again, that's what makes, you know, I talked about it before, that QB read is so dangerous because of how fast Bountiful's quarterback is. Geilman is, how fast he is. And that really hurts because you had the right play drawn up. You just couldn't, you know, get your hands on the inside of that defender. You got it on the outside, a little jersey tug, and
Penalty takes the ball to the 20.
That negates a 22-yard touchdown run by Emerson Geilman. Holding was called on Junior Tippy. 2nd and 4 now from the 20 following the penalty. Fekitoa remains the back. Handoff goes to him left side. And Fekitoa is smothered in the backfield. That is Foss. The Foss man, as it were, bringing down Fekitoa, and it's 3rd down.
Yeah, Ryan Foss right there does exactly what you need to do against Fekitoa. Wrap up his legs and wait for help. You know, you can do your part. You can slow him down, but it's so hard to bring this kid down. Great job slowing him down.
Another big 3rd down here for Bountiful. Geilman fakes it, rolls to his right, throws, caught, and short of the 1st down is Justice Talfa. He needed to get to the 21-ish yard line. He's short by about a yard.
Now, how much?
It's decision time here for head coach Jason Freckleton, and no doubt they're going for this.
How much do you trust your kicker? Because you can take the lead. You're risking a lot right here, but you're gaining a lot if you convert.
4th and 1 on the 17-yard line. 1 for 1 already on 4th downs. The power I formation. Geilman, Alsop the fullback. They motion a man out, and the pass is batted down. Read it perfectly. And the Royals shut the door on 4th down. Another big swing of momentum in this game.
Hunter Webb right there reading that bootleg excellently. And then he understands that he's not going to get there for the sack, that there's going to be a dump-off route for that 1st down. Gets his hands up, reads the throw, and swats that one down. Massive play for this Roy defense.
So 1st and 10 for the Royals. They dodge a major bullet off of what could have been a disastrous start to the 2nd half. First and 10 from the 17-yard line. Drew Gardner now from the pistol. On first down, handoff goes to Sella, trying to cut it back to the inside, and he goes absolutely nowhere. Had a chance to maybe go north-south, but instead tried to go east-west and got smothered in the backfield by Justice Telfa, among others.
Loss of a yard on the play.
In case people are just joining us, we had a wild first half, 56 total points. Bountiful tried a pooch kick. It worked, but Roy stopped the Redhawks on fourth down, and now the Royals are trying to gain some momentum of their own. As we are approaching the halfway point of this third quarter, orbit motion by Young. Pitch goes to him on the left side, and Young is smothered at the line of scrimmage. Maybe lost a yard. And you can tell, Galvin, these two defenses are really turning up the heat now on each other.
And that, I believe, is what you have seen from these coaches. Both coaches unhappy with how their defenses played in that first half. Made some adjustments, and so far, you know, they've done what they've needed to do. So far through these two plays, Bountiful has stopped Roy, and Roy came up big on that fourth down.
Now the Redhawks defense needs to come up big here. 3rd and 10 from the 16. Young goes in motion, play action. Gardner throws, caught. Young in the flat, first down and more. Why not? Robert Young with another first down on another perfectly executed play.
And man, is that guy hard to stop. Nothing you can do seems to be enough.
First down, courtesy of Studio 48, Dance Studio. And
he had 162 total yards in the first half alone. He now is approaching 200 total yards, and we still have a quarter and a half to play. And he has all 4 Roy touchdowns here this evening. Gardner from the shotgun, Sella in his right hip pocket. The throw goes out to the right side. It's caught by Morris, and Morris is swung down after a pickup of maybe 4 yards. Brought down on the play by Birmingham, among others.
And I tell you, Alex, I could really use a guy like Robert Young on my fantasy team.
Ball's on the 40.
I know why, because you have all the 49ers stars on your team, and they're all out for a few weeks. I get the pain. I feel the pain. You don't have to remind me. 2nd and 4 now from the 40. 6 in the box here for the Bountiful Redhawks. 1 safety high. And the handoff goes to Sella left side, and he is going to be short of the marker by about a yard. Brought down by the legs that time by Connor Mertz, and it'll bring up another 3rd down here for the Royals.
And we'll see, you know, what type of penetration Bountiful can get. Try and get through that offensive line. I imagine it'll be a run, but a very interesting situation right here.
A lot of confusion, too, on the offensive side of the ball, trying to get lined up. Gardner trying to distract the team going on that right side. Here's Sella, and he's got it by about a yard and a half.
Logan Sella on the carry.
Nobody bought the fake, but nobody could stop Logan Sella even on a first down for the Royals.
6-yard line. That's another roll.
And boy, has it been the tale of 2 halves. First half, all we saw was offense, and now we've gone almost 8 minutes. Or we have gone 8 minutes through this first quarter, and nothing on the board so far.
1st and 10 now from the 46. Royals approaching midfield. And 7 in the box. And the handoff goes this time to Sella. And Sella rumbling his way for a first down all the way up to the 42-yard line.
Into Redhawks territory.
That's a pickup of close to 15 yards and another first down for the Royals. Gavin mentioned it. We've now gone about 7.5 minutes now without a score after we had nothing but scores in the first half. Young goes in motion. Handoff goes to Sella again, and this time he gets walloped as he gets across the 40-yard line. Brought down by 2 men, and then the final hit made by Isake Willis.
Logan Sella.
And Roy has started to find their identity again on offense as this drive has gone on. Those first 3 downs, or I should say 2 downs, they really didn't know what they wanted to be. They were able to have one Robert Young bail them out, but right now they've been able to get that run game established and march down the field.
Young now goes into the backfield, and it is a shovel pass to Young. And Young is going to be short of the first down by about a few yards. And so it'll bring up 3rd down and another 4 to go. Riley Boudreaux was in the backfield as the extra running back.
3rd down.
And now here comes the Wildcat formation again.
A lot of 3rd downs so far on this drive, and it is really hard to stack 3rd down conversions. The best teams can do it. We'll see if Roy can continue to prove they are one of the best teams.
Young from the gun, runs it right side, bangs into a man, goes down the sideline. There he goes! Robert Young! Touchdown!
Are you kidding me? What do you do? What do you do when you have a player like Young? They bring out that Wildcat again, trying to get that extra blocker or using that advantage of an extra blocker. And he runs in, gets the first down, bounces it out, and finds a way into the end zone.
That is his 5th touchdown of the game. And that puts him over 200 yards total for the game. 2 rushing touchdowns, a passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and a 99-yard kickoff return touchdown. The extra point by Colby Froker is up, and it is good. 35-28, Roy leads with under 2 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. We'll be back after this word from the Salt Lake Running Company. It's the Robert Young Show here at Roy High School tonight. Alexander Timop alongside Gavin Atkinson. All 5 touchdowns accounted for by Robert Young. As we are seeing a possible Deseret News Mr. Football being born right before our eyes. Tonight here at Ernest F. Durbano Field, Froker kicks off and will kick it right through the back of the end zone for a touchback.
Into the end zone. Touchback.
And Bountiful will take possession of it at the 20-yard line. We'd like to remind you at the conclusion of tonight's game,
Ball comes out.
Heidemann and Associates and the Rewind Sports Network will be proud to present the Heidemann and Associates Player of the Game, the player who went above and beyond the call for his team tonight. It's presented by Heidemann and Associates, a proud sponsor of Rewind Sports Network football and high school sports coverage on KSLSports.com all school year long. And Gavin Atkinson, my buddy here, was just snickering because we have an idea who it's going to be if it's Roy that comes out victorious.
For the defense.
But still, 14 minutes of game time left to go. Long way to go here in this one. 1st and 10 from the 20 for Geilman and co. Here is a handoff on the sweep to the near side. This is Feki Toa. And a flag goes down as Feki Toa gets mauled at about the 20-yard line. A lot of grabbing in there.
Penalty marker.
We'll see what the flag is.
Very curious to see what this one is. I immediately think of either a face mask or a holding once you get that big old bunch. We'll see if I'm correct.
And they're pointing the other way, so... well, we'll just see what Scott Taylor says. He's had a busy night so far. And you're right. It is a face mask.
On the defense.
Thou hast said, Mr. Atkinson, you were right again. It's like you can read the mind of the officials tonight.
I was a little worried I was going to be wrong.
That is the 9th penalty against Roy. We've had 5 called against Bountiful here tonight. So in total, we've had 14 penalties, and all of them have been biggies. And so with under 2 minutes to go,
Takes the ball to the 34-yard line.
the penalty moves the ball up to the 34-yard line. As Bountiful trying to tie this game again. Hand off to Feki Toa, up the middle. Feki Toa, look out! Feki Toa into the secondary, and finally Russell rolled to the turf at about the 26-yard line as he broke several arm tackles along the way. And a first down just like that. Bountiful back in business.
And I've talked about his speed, I've talked about his power, but once again, you gotta understand this kid's ball carrier vision. He sees the holes.
And Geilman going to hand it off to him again. And he gets into the stack this time and will churn the legs forward for about maybe 5 yards. That by far was Siaki Fekitoa's longest carry of the night. From the 34 out to the 26, that's a 38-yard gain for Fekitoa.
And I tell you, Alex, it wasn't just one hole he slipped through. He was able to slip through the hole between the center and the left guard, but then he was able to find another hole to get past the linebacker and then off to the races.
Final 40 seconds of this third quarter. And a play action. Geilman rolling to his right. Gonna look downfield, spins off a tackle and gets walloped as he gets to the, call it the 18-yard line. And so that 4-yard gain by Emerson Geilman will be the final say of the third quarter. And we are going to head to what is going to be an epic fourth quarter finish.
Third down, 1 yard to go.
Here tonight at Ernest F. Durbano Field. Geilman will not take another snap. The clock will run out, and it is over. 36 minutes of football are in the books. Just 12 more to go. Number 1 and number 3 locked in a battle here tonight. We'll be back with the fourth quarter after this. Well, on a field that was once graced by the great Jim McMahon, we invite you now to buckle up, grab your drinks, grab your snacks, and settle on in for what is going to be an epic fourth quarter here in Roy. 35-28, the number 1 team in 5A, according to the RPI, undefeated, off to their best start in 4 years, trying to hang on against the Bountiful Redhawks as the Redhawks have 3rd and a yard to go on the Royal 18-yard line as we start this final quarter of play. Alexander Tumolev, Gavin Atkinson, Josh Dodge. We are just past 9 o'clock p.m. local time here in Utah.
This fourth quarter, make some noise.
Geilman to quickly take the snap. He'll push forward, and he has got it. A first down at the 19-yard, at the 17-yard line. He needed 1. He got 2.
On the keeper.
And the drive keeps going for the Bountiful Redhawks.
Takes the ball to the 17-yard line. 1st and 10. Bountiful.
4th trip into the red zone for the Redhawks. They have scored on, well, actually, this is their 3rd trip into the red zone. They scored on both previous occasions. Double wide receivers to the right. Junior Tippy lines up bottom of the screen. Handoff Fekitoa. And Fekitoa banging off tackles and wedges his way down to about the 14-yard line to the 13 officially. Picked up about 5 on the play.
Fekitoa, ball carrier.
And Fekitoa, he's just so hard to stop. He is one of the key, if not the cornerstone of this offense. Everything builds off of him. The passing game relies on him. If Fekitoa isn't having a great night, the passing game will struggle. But boy, I don't know if this kid has a bad night.
The only bad night he really had was against Olympus, where he went out with that busted finger midway through the second quarter. Connor Clark goes in motion. Geilman to throw, swings it out. Fekitoa, touchdown, Bountiful! And an extra point from the tie with 10 minutes and 47 seconds to go. And there's the first touchdown of the night for number 0.
And boy, is he just so talented. We've seen what he could do on the run, and then he decides to show how soft his hands are. Bring that one in, and then just go full steam into the end zone.
Landon Zayas now for the extra point. Good snap, good hold, and the kick is good. And with 10:49 to go, we are tied for the 5th time here tonight at Ernest F. Durbano Field. Bountiful 35, Roy 35. We've got 11 minutes left in regulation. Buckle up, everybody. Oh, to the tune of Pitbull's Fireball. Welcome back to Ernest F. Durbano Field here in Roy, Utah. Alexander Timlip and Gavin Atkinson. What a game this has been. And another pooch kick. And this time it is fumbled again. And did Bountiful recover it again? Yes, they did! Unbelievable! Their second onside kick recovery of the game!
And you know, Alex, I'm not exactly sure how they marked that in the stat book, if that counts as a turnover, but spirit of the law, if you will, it acts as one. And boy, is it hard to win close games when you are not taking care of the football.
So the Redhawks now have a chance to take their first lead of the game. Remember, we have been tied 5 times, but Bountiful has never led in this game. Siaki Fekitoa in the backfield. Motions out to the right. Gileman looking, pulls it down, now throws for Fekitoa! What a catch! But he landed out of bounds!
Incomplete.
He landed out of bounds!
Out of bounds.
By inches!
Oh,
That close to making a spectacular play!
does that one hurt? And something to remember is Roy's defense just got off the field. These guys are going to be tired. You're seeing a lot of two-way guys in this game. But, man, Roy catching a break there as Fekitoa just found a way to get behind the defense, slip behind the lines.
Isaac Ariza trying to get the fans back in it. Fekitoa, handoff right side. Stays on his feet, breaking tackles, and he finally gets wedged to the turf at about the 33-yard line. I don't know about you, Gavin, but it seems that number 0 is getting stronger as this game goes on.
And you're 100% right. Like,
Fekitoa
is, as I was saying, the main focal point of this offense. And what's so great about it is he doesn't have to have an effect on, or he doesn't have to have a ball to have an effect on the game. He can be a distraction right here.
Fekitoa, first down and more, barreling his way down inside the 30. 8 more yards for Siaki Fekitoa, and you can just tell the holes are getting a little bit bigger for number 0 as we have a player down
on the field
for the Roy Royals. That's Karsten Engberg, the junior linebacker who came in on that last play, and he is hurt. And so we will step aside. The Bountiful Redhawks are threatening to take their first lead of the game in a tie game with 9 minutes to go. What an insane Thursday night this has been here in Roy, Utah. Alexander Timlip alongside Gavin Atkinson. We have had 5 ties here tonight. The Roy Royals have been up by as many as 14 points, but the Bountiful Redhawks have kept it even. Karsten Engberg is being helped up off the field after taking a hit on that last play.
Engberg making his way out. Hope he's going to be okay.
As the Bountiful Redhawks will have 1st and 10 at the Royal 27-yard line. Robert Young has accounted for all 5 touchdowns tonight for the Royals. But Siaki Fekitoa scored his first on a run-back swing out. And here are the Redhawks. 1st and 10 at the 26. They were stopped last time here. Off an onside kick. Tidwell in motion. Fake to him. Gileman breaking tackles. Emerson Gileman! Touchdown! Redhawks in front for the first time tonight!
Emerson Gileman.
No penalty flags down!
And we had seen hints of it all throughout this game, that quarterback option read. So far, we had seen, it go to Fekitoa. We saw him keep it once before, but it was negated by that holding. Right there, no holdings. Shows off his speed, and into the end zone goes Galman.
First lead of the game for the Bountiful Redhawks. Extra point for Landon Zayas. It is up, and it is good. 42-35 Redhawks.
Hey fans,
with 9:12 to go
we have a
here in the fourth quarter.
Parents apparently lost.
Gavin Atkinson, I turn to you, joining me, Alexander Tim up here at the top of the press box at Ernest F. Durbano Field.
Jacob Carrera.
I mean, you can't understand. Take nothing away from the drive, Gavin, but how about Jason Freckleton, the gutsy call to go for that pooch kick again in a tie game when Roy had already seen it once. They saw it twice. How about, but still, that call by Freckleton, amazing in that situation.
And it like you said, it took some serious guts to run that, because if it doesn't work out, you are giving Roy's offense a short field. And boy, that's not something you want to do when the game is tied. So I am astounded by that call. It ended up working great, but man, Roy's coach, Chris Solomona, is going to be tearing out his hair at practice from these special team woes.
The Royals down 42-35. Another pooch kick. And this time Robert Young takes it. And Robert Young, who already has a kickoff return for a touchdown, is wrestled out of bounds at the 40-yard line. And so the Royals still, a lot of time left in this game. 9 minutes and 9 seconds left. Bountiful in front for the first time tonight. If you're just joining us, we want to welcome you. Alexander Timolip alongside Gavin Atkinson. This is the KSL Sports Rewind Game of the Week presented by Heidemann and Associates. And what a game it has been. A battle that will live in infamy between these two teams. Remember, Bountiful trying to beat an unbeaten Roy team for the first time since 1975. Young takes the handoff, goes up the left side, still on his feet, and gets waffled to the turf. And now he's holding his face. Looked like he might have gotten poked in the eye at about the 47-yard line.
And that is the sight, you breathe a sigh of relief. First of all, you hope this kid is all right, but man, he looks gassed. He's been everywhere.
Oh, he has accounted for all 5 Royal touchdowns tonight. Roy trying to keep their undefeated season alive. Handoff goes to Sella, right side, cuts it back to the right, stiff arms his way, and finally gets chopped down across midfield at the 47-yard line. But that's enough for a first down, brought down on the play by Rex Walker.
That's another Royal! Studio 48, Dance Studio and Intermountain Health.
Royals trailing for the first time tonight. They have not trailed very often all season long. Slater goes in motion. Sella in the backfield. Play action. Gardner steps up in the pocket. Gets away. Now tries to get a block downfield. And finally Walker able to corral him from behind. At about the 47, at about the 46. So call it officially a sack of no yards on the play. But that's the first time that tonight that Bountiful's defense has gotten through to Drew Gardner.
And you've gotta be impressed with the strength from Gardner right there. And we really haven't seen much pressure in this game. Many quarterbacks in danger just because both run games have been so productive.
Robert Young lined up slot to the left. Pitch goes to Sella. Gotta set that edge. Sella has a block. Sella into the secondary and ripped down from behind at the 25-yard line. 21 on the play for Logan Sella.
on the carry.
A great run from Sella, but you got to give credit to one Robert Young. He does a great job getting a block set and opening up that hole.
And credit Wes Barker, too, the 6'1 left tackle. Gardner throws, dangerous pass caught by Morris. Boy, Drew Gardner almost threw that directly into a white shirt's hands. But he was able to get it into the hands of Morris nonetheless and a pickup of 3 yards.
And what a response by Roy. You know, you could have, sat down and saw some things not go your way. Those onside pooch punts, if you will, pooch kicks. But they've come out with more fight and drive, and they've looked great on this drive.
Webb, or Foss rather, goes in motion. Here's a handoff to Sella. And Sella not going to get a whole lot. Maybe got 2. Brought down after a short pickup on the play. And with under 6 minutes to go, Gavin,
on the carry.
I look at the clock here because you have to think at this point, at this point with the clock where it is, it very well could be 4-down territory here for Roy.
And you're exactly right, Alex. A field goal, it does something for you, but I wouldn't say it's as valuable. Well, obviously not as valuable as a touchdown.
Robert Young takes the snap. He tried to go to the right. Now he's trying to come back to the left, and he's going to lose yardage.
And Roy wants a late hit right there.
And here comes a flag. And that is going to give the Royals a first down.
Oh, what a mental lapse from Bountiful right there.
I don't think it was so much, and I don't think it was so much the foul. It was I think it's the coaches coming off the sideline. So we're going to see what they sort out here. This would be a massive call. Jason Freckleton in the red shirt on the far sideline was about 5 yards off the sideline. Crown wanted a late hit on Isake Willis, but they've been letting that go all night on both sides. I can't really see how they would have called it there. What's the call?
Personal foul.
Oh my. What? They did call it. Wow. And Freckleton is going berserk on the sideline. Jason Freckleton is going absolutely crazy. He's having to be restrained by his coaches.
And that is a really tough call as Young just kind of got tripped up, slipped on the turf monster, and you saw a Bountiful defender kind of go over the top, clipped him a little bit after he was down, but
wow. So it's a dead ball foul. The down counts. So instead of 4th and 15, it's now 4th and 5. An undefeated season potentially rides on this play for Roy. 5 minutes to go. 4th and 5. They bring just 3. Throw. Tip. And intercepted. Intercepted by Tidwell.
Oh my gosh.
The first turnover of the game belongs to the Redhawks with 5 minutes to go.
Interception on the
oh boy, and was that one costly?
First and 10, Bountiful.
Drew Gardner throws his 4th pick of the year, and it might have been at one of the worst times. But here's something else to think about. It was 4th down. If they don't convert, it kind of just acts like a short punt, if you will. You'll see arm punts in the NFL. So it could have been worse. But momentum has definitely swung back into Bountiful's hands. We'll see if they can finish off this game.
Still 3 timeouts and 5 minutes left for Roy. But they need to stop. Kyleman from the shotgun. Fekitoa, the running back. Here is Fekitoa left side, breaking a tackle. He's going to back his way out close to the 20. He gets brought down at the 17-yard line with 4:44 to go. And when does Chris Solomona think about potentially starting to burn those timeouts?
Ball out to the 17-yard line. Second down, 3 yards to go.
Britton Tidwell has 2 touchdowns and now an interception. A reminder that Bountiful, the last time they beat an undefeated Roy team was in 1975, in the 1975 4A semifinals. They are 4:15 away from creating deja vu. Dialman from the shotgun, hand out to Fekitoa, going right side. Fekitoa into the secondary, still on his feet and brought down to the 32-yard line. That's a first down after a 15-yard pickup. And it'll move the sticks, and the clock will continue to run under 4 minutes.
And Bountiful is exactly where they want to be. They want to eat up this clock. You know, Roy has all 3 timeouts, so they can't stop it. But Bountiful's going to try and take it inside of 2 minutes, and I believe that's when we'll start seeing Roy burn those timeouts. Maybe a little earlier, 2:45, if this drive continues.
Again, 8 in the box. Head off goes Fekitoa left side. And Fekitoa, man, just creates a pile. Stopped after a pickup of another 5 yards right there with 3:24 and rolling. Remember, unlike in college football and in the pro leagues, there is no 2-minute warning for Roy.
Second down, 6 yards to go.
So they are at the mercy of this Bountiful offensive line, up by 7 points.
And I believe if Bountiful gets a first down, you know, that this next first down, we'll start seeing those timeouts get burned. They don't want to use those timeouts when Bountiful is already ahead of the sticks.
2nd and 5 from the 37. Can Roy's defense come up with a big stop, or can they force a takeaway? 2:45 and rolling left to go here in the game. And we have a flag from the back. And it's a delay of game against Bountiful. Wow. And that will stop the clock with 2:44 to go.
And that is, it's so difficult because, you know, one thing that needs to be said is there's no play clock on this field. You know, you have the white hat keeping track of it down on the field, but you got to have a little bit more awareness, and this noise could play a factor in that.
And now Chris Solomona is going to burn the first of his 3 timeouts with 2:31 to go here in the ball game.
And something to be said is, you know, how big that delay of game is now you basically had a first down that went nowhere. And Solomona can take that timeout knowing, hey, they're not ahead of the sticks. We could possibly get a 3-and-out with a timeout.
So 2:31 left to go here in this one. Want to welcome in our new audience. If you're just joining us, Alexander Timolet alongside Gavin Atkinson, as we are at 9:30 p.m. local time here in Roy, Utah at Ernest F. Durbano Field. What a game we've had here tonight. 5 ties, but a big lead change at 9 minutes and 7 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Emerson Geilman into the end zone, which as it stands right now was the go-ahead touchdown for the Bountiful Redhawks. 7-1 over the number 1 ranked RPI team in 5A, the Roy Royals. 8-0 for the first time since 2020, trying to go to 9-0 for the first time since 2014. But Bountiful looking for their first win in this series since 2008 and looking to beat an undefeated Roy team for the first time in 49 years. Fekitoa takes it left side, and he's going to get smothered in the backfield. And Chris Solomona immediately calls a timeout with 2:23 to go and third down coming up for the Roy Royals.
And this brings up another very interesting play call because you're third and behind the sticks. You know, with Fekitoa, you never know.
New region,
but I don't
varsity game.
imagine Bountiful throwing this ball, because if it is incomplete, the clock stops.
Fifth quarter policy for home varsity football games.
Alexander Timolip, Gavin Atkinson, 3rd down and 11 here for the Bountiful Redhawks. But Gavin, you kind of do think that Jason Freckleton is probably going to have to hand this ball off, because if you throw the ball and it's incomplete, then you stop the clock and you give Roy a free timeout. I don't know if you want to afford that here on this 3rd down.
And that is one of the toughest things about the situation. And if you go back to that delay of game penalty, you had a 2nd and 5. You were right where you wanted to be. You were in position to get another 1st down and use more clock, but now you find yourself in a very difficult position.
So here it is, 3rd down and 12. Kyleman is going to throw, and he rolls to his left. He's got to get down. He does. And he is brought down inbounds at the 25-yard line. It'll technically go down as a sack. And meanwhile, Jackson Schofield is slow getting up, and Chris Solomono will call his final timeout with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left here in the 4th quarter. And so Roy will get one more chance.
And boy, was that a smart play from the quarterback right there to go down. You do not run out of bounds right there. You don't give Roy that extra timeout. You can't, because that could be the difference of this game. We'll see, what Bountiful's defense can do, as I don't imagine any triggeration coming from Bountiful's special teams. They want to make this as long as of a field, because they have a 12th defender, and that 12th defender is the clock. You've got to score within this certain amount of time. I'm interested to see how aggressive this Bountiful defense plays, if they're going to protect the sidelines, try and make it so Roy can't throw to those out routes. But priority number 1 has to be Robert Young. You have to know where he is. You have to stop him.
Rhett Slater, deep to receive.
Britton Tidwell will punt it away to Rhett Slater with heels back on his 45-yard line. 2:14 to go. No timeouts left for Roy. Tidwell gets it away. Slater comes up and makes the fair catch. And so the Royals will have to go 55 yards in 2 minutes and 7 seconds with no timeouts.
1st and 10, Royals.
And this is where you put into your practice, or you put to use your 2-minute practice. You don't run this, and you got to be able to run it well. You don't have those timeouts. You can't have any mental errors. You can't cut it infield rather than going out. You have to be sound. You have to be smart. And we'll see how they can run it.
Gardner will go with 5 wide here on 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line. Gardner to throw. Pressure. Gets out. Gardner goes up the field and will get out of bounds to stop the clock with 1:58 to go. Talfa, among others, escorted him to that sideline. But more importantly, Roy stops the clock.
And that is massive, avoiding that sack. If, not just the loss of yards, but that clock that would have been lost if he was brought down.
2nd and 5. Gardner, again, just 3 men on the rush, throws down the field, and it's broken up. Had Morris open over the middle, but instead it was broken up by Willis. And now Roy's got 2 downs to pick up 6 yards.
And these are the last 2, plays of the game if Bountiful can stop Roy from getting a first down. Roy doesn't have any timeouts or any way to stop the clock. Bountiful can go in victory formation, but by no means is this game over.
3rd down. Slater goes in motion, and a timeout is called by defensive coordinator Jason Walker.
Bountiful.
With 1:53 to go, just building the drama. Third down and 6 coming up on the other side of this timeout. 42-35, Bountiful. Final 1 minute and 54 seconds of regulation. Alexander Timolip and Gavin Atkinson here at Ernest F. Durbano Field, the #1 team in 5A. Undefeated Roy, down to its final 2 downs to try and keep their undefeated season alive. Gardner in the shotgun, Slater at his left hip. They motion him out. Young to the right side. Gardner, just a 3-man rush. Pressure coming, fires, caught, first down, Robert Young, who else? And he's got it inside the 29-yard line. A first down for Roy. Robert Young leaving everything out there tonight.
Ball's on the 27.
And just who you couldn't let catch the ball, you let catch the ball.
1 minute and 40 remaining, 100 seconds left. Still plenty of time for Roy. They don't have to hurry here. Triple wide receiver lines up to the right. Again, just 3 on the rush. Gardner with time, throws, and it is caught. What a catch by Zane Morris, coming back for the ball and making the catch as he slid awkwardly on the turf.
Ball's on the 14-yard line.
And he is down and he is hurt with 1:20 to go here in regulation. And so while they tend to Morris, I mean, you just knew it had to be Robert Young, right? I mean, the guy has now 250 plus all-purpose yards tonight, Gavin, and he really has lit something in this Roy team. He's come a long way from when he was a sophomore on this team just 2 years ago.
I mean, you've been saying it all night. He very well could be Mr. Football in Utah. Everything I have seen from him tonight, he seems to me the best player I have seen so far in this season. He's just been extraordinary tonight, finding any way to help his team, and when his team needs him, he finds a way to be there. I mean, he has all 5 touchdowns, and it's not 5 receiving touchdowns. It's a passing touchdown, it's 2 rushing touchdowns, it's a special teams touchdown, and a receiving touchdown, I believe.
Zay Morris is getting attended to down on the field. While they do so, we'd like to remind you the Rewind Sports Network and Heidemann and Associates will be proud to name the Heidemann and Associates Player of the Game for the player that went above and beyond the call for his team tonight at the conclusion of tonight's game. It is 9:40 p.m. local time here in Roy. We have had 5 ties and a lead change here tonight. And the Royals are 13 yards away from potentially tying this game. As we're waiting for Zay Morris to get helped off the field, and he is walking very gingerly on that left leg.
And for Roy's offense, I'll finish this thought in a minute.
Slater goes in motion. Gardner for Slater. Off his hands, incomplete.
And what I was going to say, Alex, is for Roy's offense and what you have to realize if you're Bountiful's defense is you are now in the red zone, and the field is so much smaller. Your playbook is smaller. The defenders are more condensed, and it's so much harder to move the ball. So, you got 3 downs to get it to the 10. Or, excuse me, not the 10, the 5, or I believe that might be the 4.
Robert Young, slot left. Gardner looking. Gardner takes off. Gardner going for the first down, and he's got it. Down inside the 5 to the 3-yard line with a minute to go. The senior not giving up. And it's 1st and goal, and Roy will have 4 chances to tie the game. First and goal officially on the 3-yard line. Clock running under a minute to go. Royals in no hurry. Freckleton sprinting down the sideline. Stella gets the handoff, and they called a timeout. Bountiful did, with 47 seconds left in regulation.
Very interesting time to call that timeout. You know, I start to wonder if he saw something he didn't like on defense, because with the way this game is shaping out, those timeouts are extremely valuable. You rely so much on your run game to move the ball. Not having those timeouts, it tells me that Bountiful is trying to stop overtime here and now, and given the chance, you know, they'll try and win it, but they're playing for a win or overtime right now.
46 seconds remaining officially on the clock here at Ernest F. Bono Field. 47 on our clock. It'll be first and goal from the 3-yard line for the Royals, as the number 1 team in the 5A RPI trying to tie this game and at the very least force overtime.
And boy, is 46 seconds an eternity for this Bountiful defense.
For the lineman.
Logan Sella is in the backfield. Ace backfield for Drew Gardner. Robert Young to the right, and Froker at the left. Froker goes in motion. They hand it to Sella, and Sella is short, and they're going to have to go quick. He's short of the end zone. He's at the 1. Game clock is running. 35 seconds, 33 seconds, 32 seconds. Gardner sneaks it, doesn't get it. He is stopped short. 3rd down. They're going to have to go really fast now. 20 seconds. Slater comes in. Eleneke comes in. They're trying to get the play off. 10 seconds. Gardner trying to go. 5 seconds. Gardner looking. Gardner gonna run. He's not gonna get there. And the Redhawks have won the game.
That's awesome.
I am speechless, Alex. What a stand by Bountiful, but oh man, those lack of timeouts really hurt them. And I just think, spike the ball, take the pressure off yourself, spike the ball, get the play call in, get your subs in, and go for it on 4th down. They didn't get that play off, and oh, that one's gonna hurt.
What a finish.
Congratulations to the Bountiful Redhawks. We want to thank
the Bountiful Redhawks
for coming out to the game.
Have done it. Number 1 falls at Ernest F. Bono Field. There will be no undefeated season for the Royals. Bountiful pulls off the upset, 42-35. Back after this. In 1975, in the 4A semifinals, the Royals came in sporting a 10-0 record. The Bountiful Redhawks upset the Royals that night, 37-14. And 49 years later, on October 10th, 2024, the Bountiful Redhawks have pulled off the upset of the year in 5A. The Royals are undefeated no more. 42-35 the final. Alexander Timolip and Gavin Atkinson here at a stunned Ernest F. Bono Field. Gavin, a game of momentum swings did indeed come down to the team that had the ball last, and it was decided by 1 play and 1 yard.
It's as razor thin of a margin as you can be, and unfortunately for Roy, there was no margin of error. You know, we saw them driving down the field earlier, or just a few minutes earlier in that quarter. You know, they throw that pick, and that, you know, lost them a couple of minutes and a very promising drive. And then that last drive, you did an excellent job marching down, getting 54 yards down the field. You tried to go quick with a quarterback sneak, and it just wasn't there. Little bit of confusion as far as substitutions, and just some poor management of the game clock in that final 20 seconds. But all in all, an incredible game with a incredible finish.
And what a game it was. We had 5 ties and a lead change tonight, but the last lead change was the one that mattered the most. The Bountiful Redhawks were down 28-14 late in the first half. They outscored the Roy Royals 28-7 to end the game. Time now to name our Heidemann and Associates Player of the Game. Presented by Heidemann and Associates, the law firm that goes above and beyond the call for the clients they serve. Gavin, he made the big plays early on offense, but made the biggest play late when it mattered. We're giving the game ball here to Britton Tidwell. 2 touchdowns receiving tonight, but the interception that effectively ended the game and really put this one to bed, despite the fact Roy came up 1 yard short on that final drive.
And he really did come up when he needed to. He played his best when his team needed him, and he was the difference. It's so hard because you look at Young for Roy, and then you've also got Fekitoa for I keep on saying Bountiful. I'm sorry it's late, but
it's late for all of us, buddy.
But both of them had a great game dueling, and Tidwell was the difference in this game.
Gavin, what a game. And it's just like we said, deja vu for the Bountiful Redhawks. 49 years ago in the 4A semifinals, defeated an undefeated Roy. Here tonight, knocks the Royals from the ranks of the unbeaten, and perhaps, just maybe, may have given them the number 1 spot in the RPI come tomorrow morning, but we'll see. Still a lot to be decided. Want to thank Josh Dodge for being on the camera tonight. We want to thank the hospitality here at Roy. And what an epic finish as the Roy Royals come up 1 yard short of forcing overtime as time expires. The Bountiful Redhawks, 49 years after beating undefeated Roy in the 4A semifinals, take down the undefeated Royals again, 42-35. This has been another presentation of KSLSports.com and the Rewind Sports Network. For more games of the week, check out our streaming schedule on KSLSports.com, and also check out our KSL Sports Rewind social media pages for more rankings, more news, and more questions to be answered by Dane Stewart and Jeff Hansen. For Gavin Atkinson, for Vince Francis, back off-site in Orem, and for the entire Rewind Sports Network crew, I'm Alexander Timlip saying good night from Durbano Field. We invite you to take care of one another, everyone. Aloha from Utah, and good night.